So hey guys, this is your favorite fictional vortex. So in this video, we will see what if Naruto awakens demonic bloodline and had eyed of fox. But before we start, remember to subscribe and like this video. Now let's start. Sasuke finally fell to the ground, his wounds great from the many needles that pieced his body as he coughed blood and was caught by a now conscious Naruto. Why? Why did you save me? Sasuke, barely conscious now, his eyes dilated, and his body growing colder by the second, replied in barely a whisper. How should I know? Dope. He coughed up blood. I wanted to kill him before I died. Naruto shook him gently. Don't talk like that, idiot, you're going to be fine. Sasuke coughed up a bit more blood before losing consciousness. Naruto shook him harder, now crying as the mirrors of Haku's bloodline still hung overhead. I never asked you to help me, you moron. Haku, now seeing Sasuke's dead body, came out of his mirror. He was strong and died honorably, he will be MI. Naruto snapped and turned to Haku. Shut up. This was when the seal cracked and Kyuubi's chakra flowed into him as his power dramatically increased. The red chakra flowed around him as the chakra took the shape of the nine-tailed beast and wrapped around him where the seal resided. Kakashi and Zabuza immediately stopped the battle that they were having and looked up. This chakra is strong, it's not Haku, so who is it? Kakashi shook a bit but kept his composure. Damn, the fourth seal broke? Kakashi took out a scroll and spread his blood on it, still lost in his thoughts. No, but it is weakening, there's time, but I have to get there quickly. Zabuza, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I don't have time to play with you anymore. I'm going to have to end this. Though the mist had not cleared, it was obvious to Kakashi that Zabuza was sneering. That's fine with me, Kakashi. Kakashi did a number of seals and drove his scroll into the ground, planning to end the battle with a summoning spell. Haku had to shield his face from the flying winds and debris that was now clashing around the formed dome that kept them both captive as Naruto began to charge at Haku on all fours. Haku quickly dodged into his mirrors for safety, throwing his needles, which were easily deflected by Naruto's berserk chakra. Haku then replicated in his mirrors as he and all his reflections struck Naruto dead on with every needle that was shot. Enraged, Naruto shot them all out back at the attackers with earth-shattering cry as all but the real Haku disappeared. Naruto, finally finding the real Haku, charged at the mirror he resided in at full speed and punched through it, shattering the mirror to pieces. Haku still resided in one of the broken pieces of the mirror, which was thrown high into the ceiling of the dome due to the force of Naruto's attack. HMPH. Fine, how about this? Haku left the mirror, dropping down on Naruto, planning for a killing strike, but Naruto sensed the attack and immediately dodged the attack in a 900-degree flip, landing on the ground, sliding against it from the momentum of his landing. Damn. Haku tried to escape to another mirror but was caught by Naruto before he could escape. I'll kill you. Naruto's enraged state caused the chakra to completely skyrocket as he got ready to finish Haku off, who was trying to use a seal to hold back Naruto's growing chakra. His chakra is too strong, I can't deflect it, as all of Naruto's hate and energy flew into Haku's face as the chakra-enforced blow sent him flying, shattering the dome of mirrors and breaking Haku's mask as Naruto ran in for the kill. But little did he realize that this accidental chakra releasing did not just catch the attention of Kakashi and Zabuza but someone else entirely. Let's see, I just write my name in blood, okay, then shouldn't be too hard. A mysterious man about 5'9" who looked to be in his late 20s, his short messed up black hair shined in the moonlight in such a way that even Neji and Sasuke would be envious. A ninja mask covered his face and his headband covered his left eye, much similar to Kakashi's. This has a point, don't worry, I'm not copying Kakashi's look. His headband had a single X that glowed in an eerie blue light as the man did his seals. Okay, let's see, dog, tiger, horse, bird, dragon, and dog. The man then took a kunai and cut his hand. He then slammed his hand into the ground, leaving a dent in the dirt as the scroll glowed with a red chakra. As the scroll glowed, it began to shoot out lines of chakra. First 1. Then 2. Then 4. Until it finally stopped at its preferred number, 9, and the being that was summoned had been released in a brilliant flash of light. The rabid beast growled and snared as he looked down on his summoner. Took you long enough, Kyuubi, the nine-tailed demon snarled at the young man. You dare to summon a being of my stature? The boy merely stuck a finger in his ear, a slightly glazed look in his eyes. Did you have to talk so loud? Besides, I summoned you, so you have to do what I say, you stupid fox. The demon fox's eyes flared with a red hatred as it snarled and gave a faint smile. And if I refuse? I mean, what's to stop me from devouring you? The man gave a smirk through his mask and lifted the headband to its normal position. Well then, I suppose I'll have to rip you apart one tail at a time. I see, so you're. Very well, what is it that you wish, master? The man smirked. I need you to take me to Konoha. I need to see the Hokage of Fire. I see, so it is about the seal. The fox snarled in hatred at the mention. The man laughed. I take it he was your brother, maybe, or does it just hurt you pride? That seal is an abomination. Well, it was his fault. He did attack their village and the Hokage had to give up his life for that seal to work. Great job, moron. The fox sneered and smacked a tail into the man, which he blocked with his forearm, but the force of the blow sent him rolling to the side. Okay, I'll get off the subject, sheesh, now let's go, it's about time. Even with your speed it'll take a month or so to get there, now move it. Very well, let us go then before I lose my patience. Alright, I'm coming. The man hopped onto the fox, focusing chakra in his feet to stay balanced on the fox. Hey, and just in time for the Chunin exam, perfect. Hey fox, are we there yet? We're aboard 200 miles to the gates, we should be there in 30 minutes. Great, as if the trip hasn't been long enough, I can't wait to get something to eat. Is that all you ever think about? I'd say so, yeah. Kyuubi sneered at the young ninja but stopped in his tracks soon afterward. Why'd you stop? I sensed something. Yes, the environment changed, even if just for a second. Uimbicile, wake up and focus. The ninja snapped awake, immediately flipping off the fox as a purple-like barrier enclosed on the fox, trapping him in a prism-like chakra barrier. I see a dark seal. Kyuubi, can you break out of it? The fox sneered, tails flailing in all directions, trying to break the barrier, causing the tips of his tails to become burnt whenever it contacted the barrier walls. No, this chakra, it's strong, I cannot break it on my own. The ninja sighed, looking at his companion. Very well, I'll cancel the summon for now. The ninja did a variety of seals and slammed his hand to the ground as the fox disappeared into a cloud of smoke. After he was sure that the fox had been sent away, he pulled up his headband to its rightful position. Closing his eyes for a second, he kept his hands in an unusual seal. After a few moments, his body started to charge with blue chakra and his eyes snapped open. There. The ninja threw several kunai towards a tree with such force that the tree shattered under the kunai's strikes, causing a lone ninja wearing a robe to jump to safety from what once had been the oak tree he was hiding behind. The robed ninja didn't even get a chance to breathe as the brown-haired ninja appeared right behind him, doing a number of seals, causing sheer panic in the robed ninja. But only because the ninja doing the seals was doing 2 seppan. Kanashibari no Jutsu, body freezing technique. The robed figure was bound to where he stood. He tried to move, but he was too weak against the overwhelming chakra that enveloped his body. What seemed like an eternity for the bound ninja was only a couple of seconds as the ninja who he opposed finished his second seal. Kaden Gukaku no Jutsu. It means empowered fireball skill, and I'm screwing over the caps, it takes too long. Just pretend he's yelling it if y'all want _carrot. The ninja's robes immediately caught ablaze as a humongous fireball engulfed the robed ninja, turning him to nothing but ash as the wind scattered his remains. But the ninja did not relax as he immediately threw 2 more kunai behind him with twice as much force as before, which was deflected by the next robed ninja as if the Kyuubi ninja had barely tried. I see, so tell me, how did you know I was there? The Kyuubi ninja shrugged. How else could someone who sealed Kyuubi be so easily destroyed? I'm guessing you sent you, friend, to test my strength. Tell me, did you expect me to kill him that fast? I see. Hey, so you do exist. I guess rumors can be true after all. Enough talk, what do you want with me? The Kyuubi ninja took out another kunai. This time it glowed in combination with the moonlight and his own chakra. If you know the rumors, then you should know I'm not a patient nor merciful man towards my opponents. I promise this one will not be deflected so easily. Very well, it's very simple. I'm afraid you're getting in the way of our plans right now, and we have to ask you to not to arrive at Konoha. I see, and who besides you wishes for my leave of absence? A very strong ninja, one even you would not like to mess with. The Kyuubi ninja smirked. Up till now he was not even looking at the ninja. All the ninja could view was his back, that was until he turned around, causing the robed ninja to coil back in terror. Just for the record, this ninja is far from ugly. _carrot just in case some Bakayaro actually thought that, coiling back slightly but somehow managing to keep his resolve, the ninja took out a kunai as if it could protect him from the ninja standing in front of him. And if I refuse? His eyes glaring at the now frightened ninja. The ninja, finally finding his courage, simply smiled and threw his kunai. The Kyuubi ninja. This is just so you can tell them apart if you haven't noticed by now, since he summoned Kyuubi and stuff. You get it on with the FIC. Threw his chakra-enhanced kunai as it shattered the incoming kunai, but it was slowed enough for the robed ninja to dodge out of the way unharmed. I see, so you were ready to dodge it. Well, you're not stupid, at least. I've been trained well, as you will see. Then I will have to kill you quickly as to not see the results. With that, the Kyuubi ninja ran forward at such a high speed that he seemed to vanish in thin air as he appeared behind the ninja, doing a number of two-handed seals. Kaden Karyu Enden. Fire Dragon Flame Blast. The Kyuubi ninja finished his seals and breathed out a huge fireball shaped like a dragon as his went to hit the robed ninja at full blast in close range, ensuring a critical kill. Hey, interesting. The Kyuubi watched as the robed ninja did a number of seals and a cyclone of water formed around the robed ninja. Sweden Daibakufu no Jutsu. The cyclone of water blocked the incoming jutsu. Some people say jitsu, others say jutsu, so I'll just use both _carrot, causing both jistas to disperse, leaving a huge amount of steam. The Kyuubi ninja immediately dodged 3 flying kunais, and as the steam cleared, showing nothing but the kunais that had been thrown after a few moments, mist took up the entire area. Hey, so you're a missing mist ninja then? What makes you say that? The ninja threw another kunai from the darkness of the mist, which the Kyuubi ninja easily avoided. For one, you used a water jitsu without water. That's an impressive act that only most mist ninjas and the strongest Hokages can use. Second, the minute the jitsu was over, you used the Kirigakure no Jutsu, hidden mist technique. With is actually a move only mist ninja can use, but personally I don't care, the technique is quite annoying anyway. And third, the Kyuubi ninja was cut off as the robed ninja ran forward doing seals as he rushed forward, casting a variety of seals once more. Sweden Suiryuden no Jutsu, Water Dragon Blast. As the dragon began to come out, the ninja used another amount of seals, ending in a cross-like seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. If you don't know what that is, then you should stop reading right now. Go on, go, but in case you're gonna read anyway, it means shadow replication. The Kyuubi ninja stared in shock as 20 more of the robed ninjas appeared, each casting the same jitsu from every angle. The Kyuubi ninja, now out of his shock from such a combo, counted the ninja. 20. Okay, then I'll just. Before the Kyuubi ninja could finish his thoughts, he noticed that 2 of the ninja disappeared. The Kyuubi ninja looked around until he finally located the 2 missing nin. But by then it was too late. The clone reached form under the Kyuubi ninja's legs, dragging him down into the earth using Doden Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, inner decapitation technique, while the other had focused chakra into his feet to jump an impressive distance into the air, aiming his jitsu on the now submerged Kyuubi ninja as all 19 remaining ninjas struck the Kyuubi ninja with Sweden Suiryuden no Jutsu completely concentrated in that one area. When the final part of the ninja jitsu ended, the clones pulled up the lifeless body that had laid before them and began to stab it with kunai after kunai. After merciless beating and stabbings, the Kyuubi ninja's body functions ended and his heart stopped. Completing his goal, the ninja stepped away, tired from his attack. The robed ninja immediately snapped to focus as his arm was met with a powerful roundhouse kick, almost breaking the bone. The robed ninja cried in pain from the blow and was sent into a nearby tree. Interesting combo, if I do say myself, but you would have been better with the move itself. After all, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu is a useful technique, but it distributes the chakra evenly. It's not a good thing to do at times if you want a really powerful blow. The robed ninja stood up, holding his right arm in pain. It was obvious it had been hurt in the fight. But how I killed you? The robed ninja looked at the dead body as it disappeared in a cloud of smoke, leaving the robed ninja wide-eyed. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. But how it should have disappeared after the first critical hit. The Kyuubi ninja just glared at the injured ninja. I am aware that Kage Bunshin no Jutsu disperses after a critical hit, but I have perfected it to that of a real ninja with a mixture of chakra. The Kyuubi ninja held out his hand. It had been cut and was bleeding as he clenched it. With a mixture of chakra and my blood. Now let's see how you fare without your chakra to help you. The Kyuubi ninja got into a stance as he charged at his opponent with god-like speed once again. I just realized that's from Kenshin. Juken move. Heike Rokujuinsho, 64 points strike divination field. The Kyuubi ninja transferred blue chakra into his hands and feet, piercing his opponent with multiple strikes. First he laid 2 hits at a quick pace, then he his with 4, moving slightly quicker. Then 8, then 16, then 32, his pace quicker and quicker till it was rapid and at full speed. 64 strikes. He then did a strike to the abdomen of the ninja, sent him back over 10 feet into the muddy ground from which his watery assault had taken place. No longer able to stand up and barely breathing, the ninja could only stare in wonder. H how? A or Y U H Y U U G A? No, T then what are you? The ninja was barely audible and coughed up blood at the end of his sentence. You've heard the rumors, you should know. I see, so you. The ninja could not finish his sentence as he coughed up a little more blood and lost consciousness. The Kyuubi ninja sighed and walked towards the ninja, pulling off his robe. He had been right, there was the mist headband with T, proving he was a missing nin. But what he saw next surprised him, to say the least. The ninja was young, maybe 12 years old at most, his long black hair now free from the robe and able to cover the boy's face, hiding most of his features. As he further inspected the boy, the Kyuubi ninja's eyes widened in shock to realize the rank of this ninja. He was only a genin. Man, why'd I have to kill the young one? Why couldn't he be 60 or something that I could deal with? The ninja sighed and went for his kunai, but was interrupted by smoke bombs blocking his view. Since he was caught off guard, he didn't notice the ninja swoop in and grab his fallen comrade and escaped as quickly as he could. Damn, I didn't even sense his chakra, he must be strong. Hey, things could get interesting, but first things first. The Kyuubi ninja took his headband off and threw it away. He then rolled up his sleeve and took out a forehead protector, which he then wrapped around his head, of course covering his right eye. The sign of the leaf glowed in the moonlight as he began to run at full speed. I should be there in 5 minutes' time to train my predecessor. I arrived at the gate to Konoha after about 3 hours of running and decided to spend the night outside the gates. Though night would be my best cover, it would be better to just walk in casually and speak to the old man himself. I don't know what's changed, but I will see in the morning. The fox ninja spent the night outside of the gates as he planned, of course. Because of the time it took to get there, he only slept for a case of 4 hours and woke up walking to the main gate, running into the guards. I looked up to see 2 ninja guarding the gate. By their vests I could tell they were mid-class ninjas. Chunin at most, or maybe advanced genin. Made me wonder what happened to the war-ready Konoha I used to know, with Anbu guarding the gates at every turn and an ID needed to enter the village itself. The Chunin of course asked for identification, putting me slightly at ease. Halt. Who goes there? I sighed. At least the security was still there, if not incredibly lax. I looked up lazily, knowing it would take very little to take on both Chunins. However, of course, if I were to do that, I'd have every ninja in the village on my ass, including those bastards. Maybe killing a few of them would really be something I wanted, but I wonder if I could bring myself to do it even after all they put me through. Identify yourself. It was still my home. Anbu Captain ID Musashi Ryazuki. Yay, no more fox ninja, but I'd like to say sorry about the name, but I'm not Japanese. Gimme a break, I mean I'm trying, right? Winking face of the Anbu Squad 2nd Division, returning from my information retrieval mission as instructed by the 3rd Hokage. We will need proof that you are an Anbu member. I chuckled. What, my name isn't enough? I could tell I was irritating the guard by the way his eyes shifted, stressing this: he's not a Hyuga, okay? In fact, after you read a little more you'll understand a hell of a lot. I figured I might as well try another way to get in peacefully, considering the security was so strong. I pointed to my forehead protector with the symbol of the leaf. That enough proof for ya? The Chunin actually nodded to this and let me in. It made me laugh even harder. I could have stole that headband for anyone, a ninja returning home, a genin, washed the leaf symbol, then put it on, and yet all I had to do was show it. Talk about blind faith. Either the people of this city are really strong or really foolish. I walked into Konoha, nothing had changed. The people still had their same happy faces. The children were playing, and the ninja and storekeepers were peacefully going about with their business. I walked through smiling slightly. The children laughed and ran around, one bumping into I. Barely flinched. The kid, however, fell hard on his ass, causing me to laugh a little. Itai, ow. What you do that for, you jerk? I laughed even harder at that statement. Relax, squirt, I wasn't watching where I was going. It's entirely my fault, so go on and run. The kid snorted at me. He had the weirdest gear on and a pair of goggles, which in itself was even stranger. His black hair was spiked up and collected and his bright clothes were definitely outlandish, but despite all these weird features that I have never seen, he still looked familiar. "Hey Squirt, what's your name?" By some weird cue these two other kids showed up. One seemed to have an allergy problem, the other was just some little girl with pigtails. I watched in complete boredom as they did strange little poses introducing their names. Introducing the lovely beauty with sexiness of a female ninja Moegi. I love assembling models Udon. The village's #1 genius ninja, Konohamaru. All three joined in at once. With the three of us together, the Konohamaru squad is here. It was the hardest battle of my life to keep from laughing, and I didn't win it. Ha 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 ha, that has to be the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, ha. The midget leader looked pissed. How dare you mock us, you will feel our wrath. Musashi bonked the leader on the head. Don't kid yourself, Squirt, and a word of advice, don't do that lil show in battle unless you want to give your opponents a good show and end up with a kunai in every part of your body. With that Musashi walked off, leaving the kid confused and dumbfounded. But not before hearing, "Man, if boss were here he wouldn't have taken any of that crap." This caused Musashi to wonder as he walked back over. "Excuse me kid, but who is this boss you're talking about?" The young boy snickered. "Only the #1 ninja of Konoha aside from me, Uzumaki Naruto." Musashi's eyes widened. Did you say Uzumaki?" "Yep." Musashi's eyes remained wide, full of shock and surprise. It took several moments for him to regain himself. By then the kids had already left and he walked off. Uzumaki. The name is so familiar to me. Could he be from the same family? Is it even possible? I have to see for myself. Just then my stomach decided to growl. After I get some food. I walked over to the ramen stand I had known so well. Hey, if it weren't for me this place wouldn't be in business. I walked up the stand and sat down. It was still early, so no one seemed to be there yet, but the old man who ran the place stood there trying to look busy. The young lady who helped run the place bowed at me politely. "Hi, how may I help you?" I laughed, wondering if the old geezer remembered me. "Yeah, you can tell that old geezer that I'd like 8 bowls of beef ramen." The man turned around. "Damn it, Naruto, I too." The old man stopped dead in his tracks as he stared at Musashi. "Yo, Anika. For the sake of it, let's call the girl who serves the ramen that, 'cause I don't remember the name if it even exists. We're closing for the day." The girl looked puzzled, then looked at the smiling ninja and blushed. "Okay." Anika then closed the shop simply by putting up a sign that said, "Closed for the day." Musashi smiled. "Hey, I guess you did miss me." The old man turned, smiling, which was rare for him. "Huh? Miss you? You were my best customer, even better than that Uzumaki kid who hangs around here." Musashi's visible eye got serious for a moment. I see, tell me what you know about this Uzumaki kid." The old man looked past Musashi. "I don't have to, he's right there, see for yourself." Naruto was having a bad day. He had woken up falling out of his bed and ran out of ramen. That alone would have been bad enough if he had not ran into Sasuke on the way there. He could remember it all since it only happened about 10 minutes ago. "Hey Dobi. Don't call me that, Sasuke baka." Without ramen, Naruto was quite irritable, making Sasuke laugh. "Why shouldn't I?" Naruto was really pissed. "I'm warning you, Sasuke, I'm not in the mood, so stop it." Sasuke just smiled at Naruto. "Make me." Naruto snapped and charged at Sasuke, fist ready as he punched him hard in the face, sending Sasuke back a little, but Sasuke braced himself a little so he wouldn't lose too much balance. "Hey. You've gotten stronger, Dobi." That actually made Naruto feel pretty good. K's army arrived. "Oh my god, he hit Sasuke-kun." Naruto's look of happiness turned to sheer horror as a huge army of Sasuke fangirls, including Sakura and Ino, chased him around for the next 10 minutes, then beat him to a pulp. "Man, what a day, and it's still morning," Naruto sighed. "Well, at least I can get some raw." Naruto screamed so loud that every ninja in the village, if not beyond, could hear his war cry as he jumped to the ramen stand. "Hey old man, what you close for, you old geezer?" "Damn it, Naruto, stop calling me that. And I'm closed 'cause I have a old friend visiting." Naruto blinked and looked at Musashi. "Anyo, so then why is he here?" Musashi laughed while the old man twitched. "He's my friend, you moron." I looked at the blonde as he argued with the shopkeeper. He had spiky blonde hair and wore orange, not exactly the best clothing for a shinobi, but who was I to judge? However, what interested me the most were the whisker birthmarks on his face. They were like mine, only on his face, while mine resided on my arms. Naruto looked at me with his narrow eyes while I looked into his, still laughing at his cheery attitude. That didn't suit a shinobi. You're a ninja? I laughed a little. What was your first clue? Naruto, that's enough, get out of here. I looked at Naruto huff and start to leave. I sensed a strong chakra in him, though it was hidden well. Could this be the kid I was looking for? I had to act quickly. I just hoped he was indeed the right kid. There's no need to be rude. You said yourself that he was your second best customer. Musashi looked at Naruto. Your name is Naruto Uzumaki, right? At the mention of his name, Naruto jumped up, pointing. That's right, I am Uzumaki Naruto, soon to be the best Hokage of Konoha. I laughed hard. Hey, you know something, kid, I like ya. All right, fifth. This was before the attack on Konoha. Come on, Naruto, sit and have some ramen with me, my treat. Naruto's face beamed. Alright, I like you too. The old geezer laughed for the first time since Naruto showed up. You treat yourself and Naruto to ramen? Hey, looks like you'll go to college, no problem, Anika? The girl smiled and nodded. So what'll it be? Naruto and Musashi both said at the same time. Gimme 8 bowls of beef ramen and 4 bowls of miso ramen. Musashi looked at Naruto as he did the same. You have good tastes, Naruto, come on, let's eat. After a meal of ramen and 24 bowls of ramen later, the two finally had their fill. That was the best ramen I've had in years, hehe, thanks for the meal. Musashi set down the money and walked off. I'll see you again, Naruto, I'm looking forward to it. Naruto sat down, finishing his ramen. Nice guy. The old man counted the money, smiling. I'd say he left a 75% tip. Well, later, old man. Musashi walked away and went toward the Hokage office. Now for business. As I walked toward the Hokage's office, I noticed how peaceful Konoha had become since its days of wars. I noticed more children playing and smiling. There were no wounded, as Chunin, whom I saw as kids, began to teach the younger students how to become full ninjas. I passed by the Izuka clan and noticed a young boy and his dog training. I smiled passing by and gave the dog a scratch behind the ears as he barked happily. I had never known such peace and happiness could exist within a hidden village. Everyone was kind-hearted and compassionate. Of course, I alone knew the truth. As did my soon-to-be apprentice. Lost in my own thoughts, I ended up at the Hokage building next to the monument. I couldn't help but stare at the monument a little and looked at its new edition of the 4th Hokage. I gave a quick prayer of thanks and went in to a very bored-looking secretary. Yeah, what do you want? I mentally cursed. Great, a jackass. Yes, I'm here to see the 3rd. Yeah, no, everyone can enter, you know. Now what the hell is your business? I lifted my headband, exposing both my eyes, causing the man to fall out of his seat in fear. Tell the old geezer that his weapon is back. The man took out a kunai. How dare you defile our Hokage with such a title? I'll make sure you never speak again. That is enough. The man stopped in his tracks. Yes, sir. If he wanted to, this man could kill you in a matter of seconds. Even I would not fare well against him. The man was widened in fear as I held a kunai to his neck. He probably never even saw me take it out. And I'm pretty sure he wet himself. I was playing Metal Gear Solid. I laughed at him. Ah, come on, Sarutobi-sensei, you're making me blush. Come inside, please. Ebisu, giving another random name. I will be in my office talking to this man. I am not to be disturbed under any circumstances, is that understood? Ebisu nodded. Yes, sir. Good. Now, come, Musashi, there is much to discuss. The 3rd sat at his desk while Musashi sat at a chair facing him. A crystal ball in the middle. The room was filled with scroll and papers of all sorts as the 3rd smoked on his pipe and kept his hat low. So you finally returned. Did you expect anything less out of me? Musashi shrugged. I just don't know when to quit, do I? The Hokage looked sternly at Musashi. What did you learn on your mission? Musashi looked at a scroll and started reading it. What I tell you holds nothing to what you already know. Orochimaru has sworn vengeance on Konoha and has formed his own village, the Village of Sound. Bets are he will make his move soon. I see. Anything we can do about it? Normally yes, but they will probably strike during the one time we can interfere. The 3rd dropped his pipe, eyes widened. The Chunin exam. Correct. Musashi continued to look at the forbidden scroll he had taken from the shelf. Kage Bushin no Jutsu is on here. Last I remember it wasn't. You must have added a few changes to it since I've been gone. The third just looked at Musashi with a sad expression. Musashi, about what happened? Musashi glared at him for a moment. Save it, I'm not one to dwell on the past, but you should know well why I'm here from reports of a mission a few months ago. The third looked down at his crystal ball. Yes, I am aware why you have truly come back. Musashi grinned. Good, then I need not be indirect. The fox boy Uzumaki Naruto, he's the one, isn't he? The third nodded. Good, I want a full record on him right now. The third handed him a rather large scroll containing Naruto's records. As Musashi looked them over, his eyes narrowed and his fist clenched around the scroll tightly, almost ripping it to shreds. This time he was not calm. Once again the people of Konoha sicken me, and once again you fail to meet my expectations, old man. The words, old man, were said in a spite and hatred that the third shivered at. But like I said, I am not one to dwell on the past, so I will make this brief. From what I have read, Naruto is a misguided ninja who needs the proper training, and only I can give him so. Therefore I shall take him under my guidance. But Musashi, please be reasonable, you cannot take him under your training. As I remember, you were told the same thing about Orochimaru and me, yet you didn't listen. You may have failed with him and me, but I will not fail Naruto. He will be strong, I promise you that. Musashi looked at the scroll again. To learn a move that took me 3 years to perfect and create in just a day is no ordinary feat. You yourself took a full week to master it. But you are right, Naruto is not ready for training just yet, especially when he hasn't learned to control his chakra yet. I will observe him for now until the time is right for me to take him into my training. The third had remained silent. He knew there was no way he could talk Musashi out of such a feat, nor was he still young enough to force him to do so. So he merely nodded and agreed. Very well, what will you need for this? Musashi looked at the third and laughed. Nothing more than your permission to exclusively enter the Chunin exam, where I shall study him from there. Kage Bushin no Jutsu, Henge no Jutsu. After a large amount of smoke cleared, the third saw his 3 party members. One was a smaller version of Musashi with spiky black hair on, I remind you, Henge, in jeans and a blue sweater. Another was a guy with red hair and blue sunglasses, his uniform that of a green and blue jacket with jeans. The final one was a girl of normal height with jet black hair down to her mid-back with a pink outfit on, much like Sakura's. I'm not so good with women's clothing. All 3 of them talked in unison but with different tones and slightly altered speeds. Meet Team 11 inches, the girl snapped up. Come on guys, or we'll be late for the first exam. With that the girl and guy ran off to sign up. Wait, do you really think this will work, Musashi? Musashi laughed. I have far more power than you realize, old man. It's out of your hands, and I promise to stop Orochimaru if he attacks. With that Musashi began to walk until the third once again called him. Wait. Musashi, I can tell you still greatly hate the village. What is your intention? Musashi stopped to flash the third a smile much like Naruto's trademark fox-like grins. That hurt the third the most. I'm simply paying back a favor to an old friend, no more no less. And despite all I've been through, a promise is a promise. Musashi stopped short once again, his fist clenched hard. One more thing, Hokage, a promise may be a promise, but remember the Hyugas may be able to see through my jutsus, but you will have them stay out of my affairs. Unless you want to see another incident like the Uchiha clan and lose a valuable trump card, for I will without hesitation. Musashi turned to the third, his left eye in a red slit and his teeth much sharper. Kill every single one of them. With that he walked off, shutting the door to prepare for the exam. Naruto ni-san. Not Japanese, hoping that's how it's said. Is this your? After Konohamaru asked this, he held up his pink to Naruto and Naruto laughed until he noticed the high intention to kill coming from Sakura and flinched. Konohamaru, not being the smartest of ninjas, sealed his fate. Ah, Naruto ni-san, she's ugly, and isn't her forehead a little pig? Sakura's eyes turned to that oh-so-wonderful shade of white as she chased them down until Konohamaru bumped into a tall guy with a black outfit on and a strap on his back. The man didn't flinch, but Konohamaru fell back on his ass. Itai? Naruto picked Konohamaru up in concern, as the guy in black glared. Ow, that hurt. Little brat. Next to him was a woman of equal height with spiked blonde pigtails. Like the other man, she held a large item, only hers was a fan. Konohamaru, being the oh-so-bright one, yet again yelled out. Don't call me a brat. HMPH, I'll call you whatever I like. Naruto immediately walked up out of curiosity. Anyo, who are you? The man smirked and looked to the girl. Hey, can't you tell dumbass we're sand ninja here for the Chunin exam? The dumbass comment pissed Naruto off. Don't call me dumbass you bastard or I'll beat you to a pulp. The man smirked once again and slammed his large bandaged item down. This gave the girl a shock as she asked the boy. Kankuro, you don't plan on really using him, do you? Kankuro went to unwrap him, when a whirl of sand arrived causing Kankuro and the girl to shiver slightly in discomfort. We don't have time for this, put it away. Gaara. Kankuro froze, right. Kankuro put it away as a rock hit the floor by their feet. Hey Dobi, Japanese for dumbass basically, you already causing trouble. Naruto looked up to see Sasuke sitting in a branch as he crushed a rock in his hand, turning it to dust. Shut up, Sasuke. Gaara turned to him as Sasuke looked at him. To be frank, Sasuke was interested, for he hadn't been able to even sense his chakra until he came into visible view. To say the least, Gaara was the same as he put on a small but invisible smirk. You seem strong, I'll be looking forward to fighting you. With that they walked off, but not before Naruto shouted to them. What about me? The Sand Genin ignored him, causing Naruto to fume in anger, but before he could do anything another pair appeared. The first was a girl, her jet black hair reaching down on her red outfit, a kunai holster attached to her arm and a forehead protector on her leg. The other was a boy of a somewhat short height as he kept his head low and his eyeglasses close. He wore a green t-shirt and jeans, the headband around his arm. The girl was the first to speak. Excuse me, I'd hate to interrupt your little squabble, but we've seemed to lost our teammate. Have you seen him? He has spiky black hair and bright blue eyes. Both Sasuke and the Genin stared, then held their heads up, except for Gaara. Killing and acting all high and mighty are two different things. If you can't even keep track of your teammate, you have no reason to be here. Before the girl could say anything, the guy whispered in her ear as her eyes flared and she threw a rock high into the tree Sasuke was sitting in. Suddenly a kunai hit the ground with a note attached, fearing it to be an explosive note. Everyone but the girl and guy stepped back as she walked up, read the note, and fumed. That's it. The girl screamed in a rage and began to climb the trees. The boy just sighed as Naruto went up to read the paper. Now Sakura was confused and asked Naruto as he suddenly burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. Naruto, what's so funny? As Sakura read the note, a huge sweat drop formed. Sleeping, come back later, thank you. Soon a loud cry was heard as a figure came crashing down through the branches, only to land flat on his back, still half asleep. Wake up, Baka. The boy with spiky hair yawned as the girl started kicking him. Alright, I'm up. Yawn. You have to be so mean, Mai-chan? Everyone just sweat dropped at the sight before them. We need to sign up, you Baka. The ninja yawned and went back to sleep. Can't we do it later? Mai fumed, but then turned sickeningly sweet. Ryo-kun, if you wake up and talk to me now, I'll take you for some ramen later, okay? Ryo, Musashi got up groggily. Alright, I'll be right there. The girl fumed a little but this time remained calm. Alright, come on, Piro-kun. The boy with red hair signed as he was dragged. Everyone, except Gaara, of course. Sweat dropped at the sight as the ninja finally got up. And Ryo looked around, eyeing Naruto, then the others. Let's see, Naruto is there. The Uchiha boy is in the tree. The girls aren't very strong, weak chakra, one just relies on the fan. Judging by the guy in black, I can tell he's a long-ranged fighter, probably with some stupid puppet. I'm sorry, but really, who fights with a damn puppet? It's useful, but it's so stupid. And this guy. Ryo looked at Gaara with faint interest as he turned to look at Naruto again. Seems they both have demons in them. This could be an interesting learning experience for my soon-to-be apprentice. Ryo laughed to himself quietly as he stared at Team 7, then Konohamaru's gang, and then the Sand Genin. You'll have to forgive my teammate, she can be a little high-strung. Sasuke merely huffed and jumped down and stared at Ryo. Great, another moron like Naruto. Both Ryo and Naruto gave him the evil eye. Don't call me a moron, you asshole. Sasuke winced. Just what he needed, another Naruto. Ignoring the original Naruto, he stared at Ryo, who only laughed it off. Hey, says the weakling of the almighty Uchiha clan. I've heard of you, and quite frankly you make me sick. To emit his hatred of him, he spit on the ground. Just a pathetic copy of the Hyuga clan. Note I think Itachi is kick-ass and Sharingan is super kick-ass. In fact, in the video game Sharingan Sasuke is one of my favorite characters, so no flames for that line PLZ, it's all part of the plot. Sasuke glared at him for a moment and went to strike but calmed himself, thinking he's just a pathetic Naruto copy. I am an Avenger, I can't let this get to me. Sakura, however, was showing the fury of hell. How dare you insult Sasuke-kun, I'll rip you apart. Oddly enough, Naruto wasn't moving, he just stared at Ryo. He found his insult of Sasuke funny, but even he wouldn't have gone that far, and something in his gut told him this guy was a lot stronger than he put on. Anyo, just who are you? Ryo laughed. Name's Ryohatsu Uzumaki Naruto, the future Hokage of the village of Hidden Leaf. Everyone's sweat dropped except Ryo, who looked at Naruto almost as if in sadness for a moment, but just that, only a moment. Then he turned, flicking his headband up, exposing his blue eyes. Hokage, huh? That's an interesting goal. Everyone was surprised by the reaction, especially Naruto. After being laughed at so many times, someone just agreed. Well, good luck, Naruto, or should I say the 6th Hokage. It's a bit wishful to say the 5th, you're still a bit young for that. You interest me, Naruto, I'll be seeing you in the exams, don't disappoint me. And with that he was off before anyone had time to register what happened. When everything was organized and the teams had arrived, the examination was set to being. As Team 7 walked through the academy doors, they ran into another Team 1 consisting of a guy with a unique haircut and outfit with thick eyebrows and another with pure white eyes. The white-eyed one walked up to Team 7 and Sasuke. You, what's your name? Sasuke merely smirked and said, you should introduce yourself first before you ask. The boy got angry as the girl next to him calmed him down, saying, easy Neji, and then smiled at Sasuke, thinking he's cute. As Naruto once again tried to receive acknowledgement, asking Neji if he wanted to know his name, Neji merely ignored him. Until he noticed Team 11 walk by. As he looked at Ryo until they walked up to a pair of kids. Ryo yawned as he came up to the two. Hello, you're kinda in the way, mind moving? The two kids snickered at it and shoved him a little. You do not want to enter here. Ryo blinked, then with another lazy yawn tried to get through. As he was shoved aside, the other two did nothing. Mai, hitting her head, sighed at her teammates' stupidity. You're a moron, you know that, right, Ryo? Ryo yawned and sat down. I was just trying to get inside. Sasuke smirked at the argument Ryo and Mai were having as Sakura stepped forward. Excuse me, but why can't we enter? The two kids smiled, still shoving a sleepy Ryo to his ass. Hey miss, we're doing you a favor, people have died taking this test. This isn't like some stupid genin exam, you will have a high chance of dying. Others have been crippled, and some had just given up their lives as shinobi after taking this test. Sasuke stepped up. That doesn't matter to me, now let us through. As Sasuke went to take a step forward, the first kid charged, only to be caught, a unique kid in green spandex. Like I really have to give a further description? Catching each of their hits with his hands, barely flinching. This is no time to battle. Save it for the exams. Ryo blinked. This guy is pretty strong, but his chakra, it's fluctuating weirdly, I wonder. Before he could think of anything else, Tenten broke his train of thought. HMPH, didn't you say you wanted to hide our abilities until the exam? I see, so they all decided to continue anyway. Yakin. The two genin cancelled the genjutsu, changing back into chunin as the sign warped from room 321 to room 221. They kept trying to reach the stairs too. This will be an interesting exam. Little did they know how right they'd be. I'm not done yet. I just want to apologize if this first part really sucked. I just never liked this episode and I was only doing it to the best of my ability, and I saw this episode a while ago, so sorry. I promise this is a rare thing and it was a serious bitch to write, but most other episodes and manga I know enough to not make this mistake again. Thank you. Bose. And Gomen, also things have been altered to make my life easier. Team 7 made it up to 3rd floor and registered. The examiner took it and with a bored expression said, thank you, the exam will start tomorrow. Team 7 merely shrugged it off as the three went toward the exit, only to be caught by a specific unique child. Sasuke. The Uchiha boy turned to see the unique boy flip down and land perfectly from the upper level. As the boy, eyes wide, pointed to Sasuke, he stated, my name is Rock Lee and I challenge you, right now. Sasuke smirked at the comment. Lee then looked to Sakura as a blush formed on his face. SSS Sakura-chan. Sakura raised an eyebrow as to what the unique kid had to say. I love you. Sakura turned to stone, basically falling to the ground into a few thousand pieces until she managed to regain herself. It was at this point that Lee began to blow her kisses and Sakura dodged them to the best of her ability, almost killing herself in the process, panting heavily. Lee frowned. You didn't have to try too hard to dodge them. Naruto then decided to intervene. Hey, why do you want to fight, Sasuke bastard? Don't you want to fight me? Rock Lee merely keeps his stance and replied with a simple, no, you are not worth my time. Naruto, fully pissed off, charged at Rock Lee, who simply tapped his hand that did a spinning sweep, causing him to spin in a 1080-degree turn and slam into the wall, knocking him out cold. Sasuke then stepped up and got into a defensive stance and smirked. Hey, I guess now is as good a time as any to test these out. Sasuke then closed, then reopened his eyes, which now were red with two colon-like dots circling around the one dot representing his eye. Sakura stood wide-eyed at Sasuke and mouthed of his ability silently. Sharingan. Sakura stood amazed as Sasuke smirked and got into a fighting stance. Wow, Sasuke-kun is truly amazing. Do I really have to say who's thinking this? Rock Lee got into his stance, standing still with one hand out cupped in an upward angle. Good, then let us begin, and with that he charged to attack Sasuke. To Sasuke's surprise, Lee was incredibly hard to predict. His movements were so well put together as they flowed from hit to hit. As Sasuke tried to dodge a punch, he was only met by a spinning kick. When he managed to push a hand away, Lee landed on that hand and turned his heel to smash Sasuke in the head. This is no good, I can't dodge, I have to block. This, however, also didn't prove successful for Sasuke, as his block was easily broken and he received a hard hit to the face before he had a chance to recover. Lee met his face with an extended kick to his chin, sending him up high into the air. While Sasuke gathered his bearings, Lee immediately came up behind him, making Sasuke's eyes widen with fear. What is this? Lee bandages came undone as then began to wrap around Sasuke as his eye widened a little from his own power. I win. Lee appeared, giving Sasuke one hard shot to the chin with his leg extended in an upward angle as Sasuke was shot into the air. Amazed at the strength Lee possessed, he zoned for a moment until Lee appeared behind him, his bandages unraveling. I win. As Lee began to wrap his bandages around Sasuke, he was interrupted by a loud but low voice. Lee, stop this at once. Lee immediately stopped his actions and flipped back, landing on his feet, as he bowed to a pink turtle that had appeared. I'm sorry. The turtle glared at Lee as the others stared blankly, especially Naruto. A turtle? Oh wait. Maybe the turtle is Lee's sensei? But who is taught by a turtle? You know that move is forbidden. Lee continued, bowing. Yes, you're right, I'm sorry. In the meanwhile, a certain ninja was watching from the shadows. Sighs, well, his taijutsu sucks. Great, I was hoping for a fighter, but I guess working from the ground up isn't so bad. Still, this kid interests me. He managed to learn Lotus at such a young age. Sighs. Still, he's not my student. Naruto is, and his taijutsu is that of an enraged monkey. This'll be tough. Maybe I should teach Naruto some of Lee's techniques. I wonder who his sensei is. He must be powerful. Suddenly smoke appeared at the top of the turtle's shell and a very unique person appeared. He wore a green vest and an outfit much similar to Lee's. His bowl-like haircut and thick eyebrows were an interesting touch to the man's already unique looks. He stood atop the turtle shell with one leg bent and a hand formed in an O shape in front of his eye in some sort of mutated crane stance. Ryo fell to the ground with enough force to cause God back up twitching. God no, Lee looked ecstatic. Gai-sensei. Lee was only met with a hard punch to the face, sending him flying a far 20 feet, causing everyone in the room to sweat drop. Lee, you have failed to keep your move a secret and almost exposed it. That move is forbidden. Ryo twitched even more. That made no sense. Lee was crying as he got up and looked to his sensei. Gai-sensei, you are absolutely right, I should have done such a thing. Gai gave a thumbs up and a smile that showed its ridiculously shiny teeth. It is all right, Lee, the explosion of youth can overwhelm almost all. But your powerful youth will always prevail, Lee. Note, none of these are meant to make sense. Ryo was still twitching. Does this guy even understand what he's saying? 'Cause I sure as hell don't. Lee was crying. Gai-sensei. Gai also began to cry as he ran to Lee. Lee, it's all right, you need not say anymore. With that they met and embraced each other in a hug, making a random setting of a sunset at the beach appear from nowhere. Naruto's eyes were white that would make a Hyuga jealous as his mouth hung open. Sasuke's eyes were white with his eyebrow twitching ever so often with the thought of "I lost to this guy." Sakura was just passed out foaming from the mouth. And Ryo was still twitching and very angry with the fact he had to sit through all this. "Yes, this is youth. Sensei," Naruto pointed, laughing a little. "Hey, that situation isn't so bad." Sakura bonked him over the head and yelled at him. "Baka, it's dangerous, too dangerous." Guy-sensei then put his hand on Lee's shoulder. "It's okay, Lee, it's normal to make mistakes when you're young." Ryo was still twitching. Does he have to shout everything? Lee started to cry again. "You're too kind, Guy-sensei. Lee, with your youthful energy you will go far now. Run 500 laps around Konoha into the sunset." "Right, sensei." Lee was still crying. "Isn't Guy-sensei the greatest?" Naruto finally snapped out of it, pointing. "That guy is too unique." Lee's look of happiness turned to that of pure anger. "Don't insult Guy-sensei." Guy-sensei looked to Lee. "Lee, don't show them with words, show them with actions." Sasuke looked at Guy only to see him disappear then reappear behind him. Ryo looked in surprise. "He's faster than I remembered." "You are Kakashi's kids, are you not?" Naruto, still a little shocked, managed to speak. "You know Kakashi-sensei. People call us eternal rivals, and I can tell you the score is 50 wins 49 loses, and I can definitely say I am stronger than Kakashi." Sasuke stared at him, trembling a little. His speed beats Kakashi-sensei's. Is he human? "Lee caused you trouble, but please forgive him on the sake of my face. Do your best, Lee, farewell." With that, Guy disappeared. Ryo stayed in the shadows, still twitching a little. "That guy creeps me out." "Okay, I would like to tell you all why guys should creep anyone out. In the GameCube video game, Guy-sensei's special is he hugs you and it does about half the damage to your life. I'm still getting nightmares from it." With that said, on to the FIC. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura walked up through the corridor to the final room to see Kakashi-sensei waiting for them. "I see, so Sakura came as well. Now you can officially register for the Chunin exam." Sakura looked up. "What do you mean?" Kakashi kept an unreadable expression. "To tell you the truth, this exam can only be taken in teams of 3. But you said a while back that we could decide if we wanted to take it or not." "Yeah, I did." "You lied?" "In case no one knows, convo between Kakashi and Sakura only at the moment?" "Yes. If I said that Naruto and Sasuke would force you to take it?" Naruto nodded in agreement. "Even if you didn't want to take the exam, if Sasuke asked you, you would try and take the exam anyway." For Sasuke and Naruto. "So what would happen if only Sasuke-kun and Naruto came here?" "I would have prohibited them from taking the exam and not allowed them through these doors. But the 3 of you came of your own free will. Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke." Kakashi smiled through his mask. "Well done. I am proud of the 3 of you. You're my team." With that he stepped away from the doors. "Now go." With that they entered with an enthusiastic cry from Naruto and entered, leaving Kakashi alone as they went to test their fate. Little did they know of the hell they would face. Thought Ryo sat near Naruto, his team sitting close behind him, and the newly apparent Anbu Anko Midarashi. Though she seemed familiar to Ryo, she was never really one to stand out, so she was only a surface memory. At least she was never one to stand out. Her entrance after the written exam ended and loud attitude had greatly risen to that of even Naruto's standards. This gave another reason for Ryo to sigh. The written exam. Thought he had managed to pass, Naruto had done it with courage and luck. Though those qualities were of decent remark for a ninja, it wouldn't hurt if he had realized the actual point of the exam. Unfortunately, to his dismay, everyone else had easily learned this, including the Uchiha boy, which annoyed him even further. Sigh. Another thing to work on with the boy: observation skills. As Ryo continued to examine Naruto, he noticed him being as loud-mouthed to Anko as he was to everyone else, which, though comical, was yet another thing on the list that he had to work on with Naruto's skills. That's when he felt it. The moment the kunai scratched Naruto's face. It was a feeling of malice he couldn't quite describe, but it seemed so familiar, a feeling that made his body quiver with hatred. He immediately looked toward the source. It was a boy from the hidden grass. His long tongue enclosed the kunai Anko had thrown. Your kunai, miss. Thank you, but you should be careful, I almost cut off your head. I apologize, I just love the scent of blood. That is when it hit Ryo. He knew who it was. He knew it all too well. His muscles tightened, his eyes clamped shut, and his fists clenched so hard they broke the skin as trickles of blood fell from his freshly cut hands. It took all his willpower as a ninja, no as a human being, to not loose it and rip the boy's head off slowly so he could feel every tortuous second of his miserable death. No. That wasn't good enough, he needed to feel unimaginable pain that only the Mangekyo Sharingan could force, and maybe even that was too small a torture. But, if he were to kill him now, everything would be ruined and his student would no longer be under his care. So he held in his hatred for now. He would do what was intelligent and kill him later. As Anko explained the rules of the exam, Ryo noticed one particular line about the scrolls. I guess things really have changed to a peaceful ideal. It used to be a fight until the person was dead or unconscious, not just a petty theft. As Anko finished the rules, each team went to their respected gates and the exam began, but unlike the genin, except the Sand Ninja of course, who came to simply pass the exam, two team leaders had a simple goal, though both had very different ideals. The current goal was similar for both. Find them. Ryo's team nodded and jumped to separate areas as Ryo ran straight. I'd better find them before he does, or better yet. Ryo's eyes turned red for only a second before they turned blue again as he licked his lips in anticipation. Maybe I'll find him beforehand, and then I'll show him just what has been accomplished all these years, and I'll finally put him to rest. With a newfound thirst for blood, Ryo doubled his speed, dashing through any wood in his way to find his apprentice. Meanwhile, Naruto and the rest of Team 7 were having their own little problem with a missed ninja. Fortunately, thanks to the intelligence of Sasuke, I don't like him but take credit where credit is due, after all he did notice it, he was able to notice the pathetic attempt of Henge and easily drove off the intruder. Listen, if we get separated next time, even if it's one of us, don't trust them. This could happen again. Sakura leaned forward in concern and worry. Then what do we do? Sasuke, still coving a kunai through the mist ninja, wiped some off his face with his sleeve. We'll make a code word just in case. Listen, if they get it wrong, assume they're the enemy no matter what they look like. Sasuke continued, unbeknown to the team that they were being watched by an ominous presence. Listen carefully, I'll only say this once. Should I always forget this? Greater than. Oh well, that's what manga is for. The nin song, nin machine. When this is asked, answer with. Sasuke then took a sharp breath, then continued. A large amount of loud enemies is the friend of the shinobi. Hide and remain silent. A shinobi must understand the proper time, when the enemy is tired and ill-prepared. Sakura nodded in understanding. Naruto wasn't so easily swayed, especially since he wasn't too bright in the field of remembrance. Wait, that's impossible to remember. Sakura stared at him. Are you stupid? I already memorized it. The ominous voice continued to listen. Smart plan. Hey, is this code word really? Sasuke interrupted Naruto. I'll hold the scroll. This is when a huge blast of energy sent Naruto flying as the ominous presence finally showed itself. What more enemies? Sasuke immediately prepared for battle. The man just stood there. You guys go play over there, I'll take care of them myself. After the smoke and debris subsided, Sasuke hid within the flora, until a girl voice called out his name. Sasuke-kun? Sakura. Sasuke immediately turned with his kunai ready. Stay back. First the code word, nin song, nin machine. Sakura took a step back. Oh yeah. A large amount of loud enemies is the friend of the shinobi. Hide and remain silent. A shinobi must understand the proper time, when the enemy is tired and ill-prepared. Good. Naruto came walking into the clearing. Ow, you guys alright? Naruto, wait a second, the password. Oh yeah, I know. A large amount of loud enemies is the friend of the shinobi. Hide and remain silent. A shinobi must understand the proper time, when the enemy is tired and ill-prepared. Sakura gave a sigh of relief. Sasuke smiled before he sent a kunai at Naruto, which he barely dodged. Sakura was dumbfounded. Sasuke-kun. Why? Naruto remembered the code word. So, it's someone able to dodge my attacks. What are you talking about, Sasuke-kun? Naruto gave an evil smirk. Impressive that you knew. With that, a collection of smoke gathered and it revealed no longer Naruto but a grass nin the same as before. How did you know? That I was a fake. I knew you were listening to our conversation from underground. That's why I made a code word like that. Sasuke gave a smirk. There's no way he could remember a song that long. So you had to be a fake. The boy lowered his hat. I see neither tired nor ill-prepared are we? This'll be more fun than I thought. Naruto got up a little while later distanced from the party. Ow. After recovering he looked around. Where's Sakura-chan and that bastard Sasuke? After a few moments it suddenly got darker and Naruto came face to face with a giant snake. It's huge. I have never seen a snake so big. What is up with this forest? With that the snake struck and Naruto jumped out of the way. But it was to no avail as Naruto was caught by the snake's tail. Damn. With that the snake unhinged its jaw and swallowed Naruto whole. Let me out, damn you. The man stood in front of the Sakura and Sasuke, tongue hanging out. You want my earth scroll, right? And since you have the heaven scroll. The man's tongue rolled around the scroll and he consumed it, much to Sasuke and Sakura's horror. Now let's begin the battle for each other's scrolls. He then pulled his eyelid down, without lives on the line. Sasuke and Sakura then saw visions of horrible pain and blood, as their limbs for torn blood spraying from every part of their bodies, followed by a not-so-gentle kunai lodged into their heads. Even though it happened in a split second, it was enough to make Sakura freeze with fear and Sasuke vomit. Genjutsu? No, this is just fear. The killing intent in his eyes is causing us to see the image of death. Who is this guy? Sakura? Sakura could not answer. She was terrified. And in that state of horror, she was void to all outside forces beyond her own fear, and even Sasuke's voice could not reach her. This is bad, we must run, otherwise there is only death. The grass nin smirked again. You can no longer move, can you? Sasuke knew he was right. Come on, move, even if just a little move. The grass ninja threw 2 kunai at Sasuke as Sasuke turned and managed to get out of the way, moving in full effort to grab Sakura. It was after they had moved aside that the grass nin noticed the kunai lodged into Sasuke's leg. To injure his own body to ease the feelings of fear and pain. As I thought, he's no ordinary prey. Meanwhile, Naruto was fighting to get out of the snake, but with great difficulty. Damn it. At this rate I'm going to be melted, how can I get out? That's when the idea hit him. Alright, if you won't throw me up I'll find another way. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The giant snake began to expand as Bunshin after Bunshin filled its body until finally, the snake exploded, sending Naruto flying out of its torn body. I'm a shinobi who will become Hokage. I can't be eaten in a place like this. With that he ran off with one goal in mind, to find Sakura and Sasuke. Sasuke and Sakura were about to run for their lives, and about to be attacked by the grass nin, when a kunai hid by the grass nin's feet. Sasuke looked up to see Ryo in the trees. Another pathetic attempt from the Uchiha clan running for his life. I cannot say that I am surprised. Sasuke didn't care at the moment from his insult, he just wanted to run, get out of there, go to where it was safe, but he knew that the nin would find them sooner or later. Where is Naruto? We got separated, now run. This guy is way out of our league. Ryo smirked. Wrong, he's out of your league, now run like the coward you are. Sasuke didn't care at that moment what he was as he ran as fast as his legs could carry him with Sakura. The grass nin sighed. You will pay for ruining my hunt, I assure you that. Your hunt? Ryo snickered. Hey, I guess it makes sense referring to yourself as an animal. You are the lowest of scum, only a micro speck on the hunter list. The ninja looked sternly at Ryo, who still remained in his genin form. You dare mock me? Do you have any clue who I am? Yes, I do. You're a lowly piece of shit, not worth to stand on this ground. I despise your kind more than anything. Ryo then spit on the ground to confirm his point got across. Then fight me if you think I am so lowly. With that the grass nin did as he had before, lowering his eyelid to Ryo. With our lives on the line. The grass nin gasped in surprise as the nin stood there unflinching. He remained calm and cool, he didn't even blink at the massive killer intent that the ninja was inflicting upon Ryo. What the, do you not fear death at all? Ryo laughed. Fear death? With that he undid his henge on his right eye only and stared at the ninja. Orochimaru, I welcome it? Orochimaru was frozen with fear. He couldn't move, he couldn't breathe until he, like Sasuke had, proceeded to vomit all over the ground from the visions he had experienced. But, there were no simple images of death, they were images of eternal torture. Each layer of skin being ripped off one by one, his bones crushed, and his nerves and organs exposed to the air before they too were crushed. But he could still move, for he was despite all that still powerful. As the memories of this killer intent flooded through Orochimaru's mind, only one name came up. Why you? But that's not possible, I killed you, I saw you die. The man walked towards Orochimaru, who took a step back in fear. Come now Orochimaru, you should know of all people that I wouldn't die without fulfilling a promise, now would I? Orochimaru snickered. I see, so you still cling on to life like a miserable dog. I have to applaud you, what you had done was indeed clever. It was not difficult after the brave sacrificed a hellish glare that made Orochimaru shiver. Oh Orochimaru, you still are as caring as ever. Before Orochimaru could even blink, he was being held up into the air by Ryo. From the neck. Ryo's hand kept a firm grip through Orochimaru's struggle, and broke through the skin as his neck was cut ever so slightly, small droplets of blood hitting Ryo's hand. You opened my eyes, made me see the truth of Konoha and everything in it. For that, he was in his original form. The henge expired for the moment, one eye blood red with Kyuubi's influence, the other staring down Orochimaru as he was shaken with fear. I will never forgive you. With that, Orochimaru's neck was crushed, but only for Ryo's hand to become covered in mud. So you miss the old days? You were so promising, you should have joined me. I would never join you, you scum. You ruined my life. Why, all I did was give you power, strength, ability, and in return the people of that pathetic village grew jealous. As always, the superior species has stood up against, hoping that the inferior numbers will destroy the superior one. Of course you become strong, you reached a limit none of them could ever hope to achieve, and yet you were sneered at, disregarded, and shunned. How did it feel to find out the truth of the people? I was happy until you screwed everything up. Ryo no longer had control over his emotions, his chakra enraged over him, covering him like a fire. Ignorance is bliss Orochimaru, you ruined my ignorance with the knowledge you gave me. I was sent to hell. Ryo proceeded to calm down. I should have died that day, but I didn't. I thought I had a second chance. I could help Konoha and protect it with the newfound power. I could only see the good of Konoha back then, but your vile ways, your damn actions. Now I see no good anymore. I lost everything because of you. Ryo almost broke down but kept his composure, calming himself once again. Did I really make you see the evil? Or, did the evil just decide to surface? The people of Konoha were always ignorant fools. If ignorance is bliss, then let them be ignorant in death, rather than waste oxygen and precious space in life. I will never let you harm them. I have my honor as a shinobi to keep. Orochimaru was still hiding. Honor, you say? What is honor? Your pathetic attempts to keep a promise of a dead man? No, my promise to exterminate the evil that is in this village. Thanks to the fourth, the village elders will soon die and the past will be forgotten, and then, under a new Hokage, will the village of Konoha finally be what it was meant to be. Orochimaru gave a hideous laugh. What a pathetic speech. You have such high hopes for a dead village. Ryo didn't speak for some time after that. Why did you come here, Orochimaru? What do you want? And remember, you cannot lie, for I will know. Orochimaru reappeared from the underbrush of the forest. The last Uchiha. He will be my heir. Ryo spit. Save me your stupid lies. Orochimaru laughed. Lies? No, not lies, just embellishments. He will be my heir as well as my new body. Ryo didn't even react. So you perfected that abomination of a jutsu. Orochimaru laughed once again. Abomination, you say? So it is an abomination to live forever? Ryo's fist clenched. That doesn't matter to me, Orochimaru, but I have one request. You may do what you want to the Uchiha boy. He is not my concern, but note that you will be destroyed if you attack Konoha. Heed my warning. Konoha, they will not lie down like dogs despite the end of the Uchiha clan. The other clans. Hyuga, the Hokage. They will fight and win. And I will stop you as well. You are welcome to try, but I will keep my promise no matter what. Orochimaru snickered and went to go after the Uchiha boy, but was stopped by a kunai just scratching his face. He turned to see Ryo, his head down, covering his eyes in a dark expression. If you attack Naruto, the vessel of the other Kyuubi, if he is harmed in any way, if you even touch him, you will regret it. You've already caused him harm, and I will destroy you if you cause any more. With that, Orochimaru ran off, leaving Ryo alone. As the wind picked up and the scattered leaves of the forest cut past him, his hair picking up slightly in the wind, a tear fell from his face, hitting the ground as he ran off, one name fresh in his mind as the tear had fallen from his face. Uzumaki. Naruto Kyuubi. I hate how this new fanfiction upload system works and how I have to reinstate the thought things twice. X. Well, there ya go. You wanted longer chapters. There's one. It gives a small bit of the plot away, but it'll all be explained in due time. I'm actually pretty proud of this chapter. It even has grammar, though it took a while, proving no grammar isn't always a bad thing. Naruto. What the hell was all that talking? Naruto Kyuubi. Relax, you'll have your fight scenes soon enough, but this had to be done. Sasuke. You had me look like a moron again. Naruto Kyuubi. I don't know what you are talking about. Greater than. Sasuke. Snaps his fingers, but nothing happens. Where is my fangirl army? Naruto Kyuubi. I sent them to a romance pile of Naruto fics. They're usually all Naruto x Sasuke, so they'll be there for a while. Greater than. Sasuke and Naruto. What that sick. They look at each other, then look away and proceed to throw up. Naruto Kyuubi. Meh, it's actually quite popular. There's a lot of them for some reason. Sasuke Naruto is the most popular pairing there is. I'm not too fond of the pairing Hinata x Naruto, Sakura x Naruto, heck even Tsunade x Naruto seems better, but hey, some of them are actually pretty good, so I won't bash them. Naruto. Continuing to throw up. Sasuke. In a fetal position, saying, I am straight like a mantra. Sakura. Drooling a little at the thought, then blushing. Anyo, are there gonna be any pairing like that, Kyuubi-kun? Naruto Kyuubi. Actually yes, but no Naruto Sasuke pairing. Sorry to all yaoi lovers, but I just don't think it's a good pairing. Naruto and Sasuke. You're damn right it's not. Naruto Kyuubi. Heh. Anyway, pairings will be set up later on and I'll see YA guys around. Hope you enjoyed chapter 8 and I'll try my best to have chapter 9 up as soon as possible. Sasuke and Naruto. Still throwing up. Sakura. Sweat drop. Kakashi. Reading ICHA Paradise. Waves goodbye. Naruto Kyuubi. Okay, see ya soon, and as always reviews are appreciated. This was it. This was strike 3. Naruto. This was the finally straw. Musashi didn't care what happened to the Uchiha brat, and although he had nothing against the girl, she wasn't his concern either. But when Orochimaru tampered with the seal of the Kyuubi, that's when Musashi got mad. So mad in fact that after Naruto had been knocked unconscious and the seal had been administered to Sasuke, that he had tracked Orochimaru to have a talk ninja to ninja. Orochimaru was feeling quite content as he hung in the branches. He had just driven Enko away after a failed assassination attempt and had applied the cursed seal to Sasuke. If Sasuke survived, he would make a most excellent subject. These were his only thoughts as he jumped from the tree that was now shattered to pieces and went to hide in the underbrush. Musashi stood at the base, wood and leaves circling around the chakra now pouring out of Musashi's arm as he lowered his other hand and the chakra around his arm dispatched. Orochimaru licked his lips. Musashi always was the creative one. I see you kept your title of the Jutsu Writer. Musashi lowered his hand. You die here. Orochimaru began to sweat from the ferocity emitting from Musashi, his chakra flaring through the woods like a beacon. Come now, Musashi, is there really any nay? Orochimaru had to dodge before the kunai smashed through the tree, as well as 3 others at the spot where Orochimaru's head had been. Before he could hit the ground, he was assaulted by a mixture of fire and ice dragons which bit through his very core, tearing him to shreds as he screamed in agony and dropped dead to the floor. Musashi didn't even blink. Get up, I know you're not dead, you always were overdramatic. Orochimaru's dead corpse melted into mud off ground. He pouted. Ah, you're no fun, Ryo-kunai. Before Orochimaru could react, he was being held up in the air by Musashi's hand. First off, you have no right to call me that anymore. And second, I had warned you, didn't I? Musashi's voice was cold enough to freeze fire and send chills down Orochimaru's spine. Orochimaru tried to play dumb despite the fear he was feeling. I don't know what you're talk. You know damn well, you liar. Musashi's voice was now thick and dark as his visible eye grew red for only a second. I told you the Uchiha brat was yours, but the vessel Naruto was off limits, and you set me back with your damn seal. Orochimaru laughed. Does that really matter? The kid is pathetic, a monster, eh? Shut up. Musashi slammed Orochimaru through a wall, shaking from anger. Do you seriously expect me to hold any sort of agreement with you? Before Orochimaru could respond, he was attacked by a flurry of blows from Musashi, starting with a combo of punches all flaring with chakra as Orochimaru winced in horrible pain from dodging. Until finally, Musashi struck Orochimaru in the stomach, causing him to cough up blood as a massive explosion of chakra shot through his stomach and explode out his spine. Juken second style, the divine explosion. Musashi's facial expression lowered a bit as Orochimaru exploded into mud as the explosion itself created gale winds throughout the area. You've gotten faster, Orochimaru, and you've gotten more powerful. Another creation, O mighty rider? Bite me. A wicked laugher echoed through the woods. Bite you, Ryo-kun. Why, I might just do that. He ah ha 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 sene jashu. Hidden snake hands. Musashi jumped, avoiding several snakes that bit into the ground as 3 more shot through the darkness. Musashi backflipped over them to land into 4 more that bit into his ankles, drawing blood and wrapping around his legs. Musashi winced and went to take a kunai, but despite his speed the wince had cost him as 2 more snakes bit into his wrists and wrapped around them, elevating him into the air. Orochimaru then flipped to the ground, staring at Musashi. Pathetic, Ryo-kun, let me end your ridiculous resistance. Orochimaru then pulled out a sword from his mouth and looked at Musashi. Goodbye, Ryo-kun. Orochimaru shoved his sword through Musashi's chest as he coughed up blood, then allowed his body to drop as he spun around, using his sword to decapitate Musashi's head as his headless body showered blood which covered Orochimaru as he began to kick Musashi's body, licking the blood off his arms until they were clean. You were pathetic, but your blood was delicious. Ha 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 ha. Orochimaru went to kick Musashi's dead body some more but was shocked to see it disappear into smoke. Sneaky little. Orochimaru then realized something. The blood covering his body was pulsating and he couldn't move. The blood jutsus are the jutsus of the days of war and chaos. Rather than give up his body or mind to the enemy, the ninja would use his own blood to cause deadly effects. This is just one of the many blood jutsus I developed over the years. The binding of the blood. It seeps into the skin, merging with it, creating a small, thin, but very powerful barrier separating the chakra and nerves so that the areas drenched in blood are left useless and immobile. However, this comes at a price. Musashi held out his wrist and kunai, which were drenched in blood. The blood jutsus take up almost all of the human blood in order for the jutsus to work. So in a way it can be more dangerous than opening the 8th chakra gate in the body. Orochimaru laughed, looking at the blood Musashi had lost. So you will die before you can finish me off? What a waste. Ryo smirked slightly as his wound began to heal up. You forget that being as I am now may be a curse, but it can also be a blessing. Orochimaru tried to move but he couldn't. Musashi had him. You can no longer move. Accept your fate like the true shinobi you once were. It was then Orochimaru smiled wickedly and did something that Musashi had never expected to happen. Orochimaru, clean of blood from his arms and hands, only used those arms and pulled off his own skin, revealing a young woman with pale white skin and yellow eyes. And before Musashi could react, Orochimaru kicked him to the upper stomach, causing Musashi to cough up blood as he quickly regained himself. Hee hee, looks like your plan failed and you really haven't changed since that day, Ryo-kun. Musashi only looked to the ground in sorrow. Furufushi no jutsu, I see, so you stole that forbidden jutsu. Orochimaru's voice was high now to accommodate his new look. Stole? No, I merely perfected it. After all, it was your wonderful jutsu, Ryo-kun. Musashi spat on the ground, his fists clenched with anger. That jutsu was never meant to be used. Only the most powerful of ninjas can master it without losing their minds. Even I never dared to use such a thing. Orochimaru began to laugh in a high-pitched voice that could turn water to ice. So I suppose this proves I have become truly powerful, does it not, Ryo-kun? Musashi smirked, but only for a moment. No, it just proves that you have gone completely insane in your lust for power, Orochimaru, and that is why you will be stopped. It seems you want to start up the old fight again. Orochimaru's eyes widened, then she began that horrible laughter once more. You know, Ryo-kun, you just gave me a great idea. Since we are here, why do we not just have a great little reunion? Orochimaru then spread out his arms after doing a number of seals as a coffin appeared, releasing a beautiful, yes, pale and dirty girl slightly smaller than Musashi. Her long hair waved back from the wind caused by the falling of the coffin door. Her eyes were pure white and she stood in a Junin vest. Musashi's eyes widened. "You summoned me?" Orochimaru laughed and pet the slightly shorter woman on the head. "See, Ryo-kun, she even still has her shyness, just as we all remember." The girl's eyes widened as she looked at Musashi. For a moment her pale face brightened. "Ryo-kun, am I here to help you fight again with Orochimaru-sama?" Musashi couldn't speak, he just stood there. Unfortunately, Orochimaru didn't mind speaking for everyone. "Ah, isn't that sweet? Even after all these years she's still loyal to you, Ryo-kun. Unfortunately that won't matter. Tell me, Ryo-kun, you still remember her name?" Ryo couldn't hold back anymore, his fists clenched so hard he drew blood. "Why, you sick bastard, let Hana-chan go." Hana stood and looked to Orochimaru, eyes widened with fear. "No, Orochimaru-sama, you can't expect me to fight Ryo-kun, can you?" The sadistic look in Orochimaru's eyes told her the answer. "No, I'll never fight Ryo-kun. You can? Make me. You can't, I won't I." Before Hana could say anything else, a kunai with a small paper attached was embedded into her back. As she began to grow livelier, her body seemed more toned and her eyes began to pulsate as her Byakugan activated. Musashi looked at Hana-chan, tears escaping his eye if only for a moment as his voice was drowned in sorrow. "You're as beautiful as you always were, Hana-chan." Hana remained silent, her Byakugan forward, but Musashi could see the tears forming in her eyes as she walked forward. "I'm sorry, Ryo-kun." And then she charged. Musashi was spellbound. Despite how long it had been, he still knew Hana's motions perfectly, but he couldn't fight her. He just couldn't bring himself to, as he dodged blow for blow, wincing in pain when her Juken barely missed his flesh. It was then Orochimaru jumped into the battle in attempts to flank him, slashing at him with his sword. As Musashi tried to dodge the deadly assault, jumping out of the way, he was caught as Orochimaru's tongue grabbed him and threw him into a tree. But cursed as Musashi's body turned to smoke once again, only to be met by a 61-point strike by Hana. Musashi managed to block 3 points in his upper abdomen, but was at too much of a disadvantage in speed to dodge the rest as he hit the floor hard, causing dust from the dry earth to kick up. "Musashi, didn't Ryo-kun, don't you want to play with Hana-chan and me some more like the old days?" Musashi didn't respond. "Or maybe you just can't play anymore, Ryo-kun. Hana-chan always was a fierce woman." Orochimaru's tongue quickly wrapped around Hana, then back into his mouth. "I wonder what kind of power she would have possessed now. She probably would have been head of the Hyuga estate. Hee ha 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 ha." Musashi struggled, coughing up blood. "This will be the third promise I'll break to you, Hana, and for that I am truly sorry." Orochimaru stood in surprise as Ryo threw his headband to the floor, and Orochimaru took a step back as he glared at him, his left eye staring into Orochimaru's soul itself. "But you, Orochimaru, you made me remember something I never wanted to remember, and for that." Musashi's eye turned into a red slit as the other began to enlighten in a blue-like light. "I will never forgive you." Orochimaru swallowed for a second, then regained himself. Shuriken. Red chakra formed around the left side of Musashi's body, as did blue chakra on his right, as he did seals with both hands in lightning quick precision, and the chakra began to spiral. Kyuubi merger no jutsu. Suddenly the two chakras hit, forming a purple-like glow as the entire area under him began to indent from the pressure as Ryo crouched down to all fours and his chakra manifested into something. And that something was a fox. Orochimaru stared at awe as the chakra subsided and left completely as Musashi stood up, but there were no signs of the Kyuubi ever forming. His eyes returned to their original color. There were no physical differences, so Orochimaru saw no threat. "You think that trying to intimidate me with your genjutsu would work? Why don't you use your chakra? You are weak, Ryo-kun, and you know why? Because you always let your emotions get the better of you. You were a horrible ninja." Musashi said nothing, he only stood there. "Now die." Orochimaru went for the final strike as Musashi caught it in between his hands. He then pushed it up, sending Orochimaru backwards as Hana charged toward him. Musashi shed one final tear and mouthed the words, "Forgive me, Hana-chan." Shuriken-style Juken combo, gates of heaven and hell. Hana didn't move. "Ryo-kun, I'm sorry." She gave him a weak smile and nodded. "I hope I wasn't too much trouble. I'll see you again, Ryo-kun, right?" Ryo held the tears in his eyes and gave a hand seal. Yeah, we will, Hana-chan, I promise. Gates unseal. Chakra began to shoot out from every tenketsu. Chakra points. In Hana's body, shooting in every direction in massive blasts until her body couldn't take it anymore and just collapsed, and the form of Hana melted into mud to show a faceless grass ninja. When Musashi looked up, Orochimaru was gone. Good show, Musashi, I'll be sure to see you again once I have Sasuke-kun's body. Musashi picked up his headband and sat against the tree, coughing up blood and panting as he put it back over his eye. Kin. It's cancel, I know it's for Genjutsu, but bite me. Suddenly Musashi coughed up even more blood as the violet chakra calmly turned to blue, then disappeared. He then sighed and took a blue chakra-filled hand and placed it to his lower chest, upper abdomen. Orochimaru, I'll kill you for this, and if I can't, I promise you Naruto will. And with that he passed out onto the cold ground. It was a day later. Ryo had woken up in the forest when he had fallen. Most of his wounds had already been healed, and except for a few certain injuries that had been caused from the recent battle, he was good as new. But then again, those wounds would never heal. Ryo sighed, wondering just how long he was unconscious. A few moments later Ryo got up, his legs still a little weak for an unknown reason. Ryo sighed, looking down, and noticed the snake bites Orochimaru had caused were infected and somewhat purple. Great poison, I hate poison. Ryo, finishing that sentence, focused chakra into his leg and drove out the venom, healed the infection, and cleaned the wounds, which soon healed quickly after. How long was I out? Ryo shook off his thoughts and checked his weapons pouch. He was out of kunai. He decided to get more later, as he had a few shuriken left that would be more than enough. After a moment of searching, he found the earth scroll. Putting it back in his weapons pouch, Ryo then began to scout the area, which caused him to find something under where the dead grass ninja laid. Ryo sat down besides the ninja and checked his joints and the rest of his body. The body is only starting to feel the effects of rigor mortis, probably spelled it wrong, and for those that don't know, it's when the body begins to stiffen after death. Yes, I know that the grass nin was found by Anko, let's say it was there, okay? If you flame me about this, I will not care nor pay attention to it, as I have said this is an OFIC, damn it. Okay, moving on. I must have been out for only 7 to 10 hours, I must have slept through the night. But first it's only proper that the body be cremated. Then I only have a few hours to get the heaven scroll. Doing the proper seals, Ryo and shouted, Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu. A controlled fireball erupted from Ryo's lungs as the grass nin was burned. In a few seconds only his ashes remained. Ryo sighed. Rest in peace. It was then Ryo noticed the small paper under the ashes. When he picked it up, his eyes widened. It was the heaven scroll. Hana-chan. It made the most sense. Orochimaru was never one to be careless and would never be one to just drop the scroll in battle. Ryo stayed silent, gripping the scroll in his hands. This one time, I will keep my promise to you, Hana-chan. He will die. With that, Ryo shot off, leaving nothing but a blur of leaves. When he reappeared, he stood in front of the Great Tower gates. Hey. Been a while since I've been here. Flashback. Ryo-kun, this is it, are you ready? Ryo smiled. Yeah, let's do this. You two are idiots. HMPH. You're just jealous. Hana-chan's plan got the last scroll for us, she's a genius. Hana blushed slightly. Thank you, Ryo-kun. Oh, will you two give it a rest? You're getting me sick. Ryo ran to the gates of the tower. Come on guys, starting this day we'll all be CHUNNIN. Ryo-kun, we still need to pass the last part of the exam. Ryo scratched the back of his head, laughing. I know, but there's no doubt in my mind that we'll all make it. Let's go. End flashback. Ryo pushed open the gates and sighed. Looks like I only made it this time. When he was in the gates, Team 7, 8, 9, and 10 were there, all mending their wounds and resting. Ryo sighed, looking at Team 7. They weren't in the best of shape. Sasuke was cursed, Sakura's mind was wandering, and Naruto's seal was completely out of balance. Surely enough, though, that didn't quiet Naruto in the least bit, as he was conversing with a man with white silver hair and glasses. After he was done conversing, he shouted to Ryo, Hey Ryo-kun. Glad you made it. Team 7 looked over to him as he laughed nervously. Hi Naruto-kun, glad to see you, and the others made it as well. Naruto looked around, then noticed something, shouting, Hey Ryo, where's your team? Ryo's eyes shot open. He forgot in his battle he had used up his clones in the battle against Orochimaru. Using a seal and thinking of Kage Bushin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone, he formed 2 new clones far away from him. Ryo did have to thank Orochimaru for one thing. If he hadn't cursed Sasuke Betsu, he would have seen him make the seals. Ryo was then attacked by a female clone of himself. You don't run ahead, don't you know anything of teamwork? Ryo's sweat dropped and acted his brains out. I'm sorry, Rak. She smacked him upside the head. Don't Rachel me. She sighed after hitting him. Man, you really are hopeless. Come on, get up, we have a competition to win. Come on, Samuel. The kid with black glasses, if you read the whole FIC you know what they look like, no cheating, just walked past Steven sighing as he followed her. Ryo sighed. I kinda wish they hadn't made it. Saying that, Ryo walked to the corner with his team tree coming from the other teams. Then there was smoke everywhere as the Hokage and the Junin appeared. The Chunin preliminaries had begun. The Hokage stood and looked at the students, avoiding eyes with Ryo and his team. Congratulations upon making it this far, but know that for now there will be no more teamwork. A man coughed, looking rather sickly, looking at the Hokage. Hokage-sama, if I may. The Hokage smiled and simply looked at him. Sure, if you wish. The man coughed. I will be the judge for your matches. It will be very simple. You will be randomly chosen to fight another genin in this room. When you fight, you will fight until you either say, I give up, your opponent is unable to battle, or if your opponent dies. Note, however, that if I feel that it's needed, I shall stop the match and declare a winner. Is that understood? Everyone nodded. Good. Now, as one more thing before we begin, if anyone is injured and wish to not fight, raise their hand and you will be treated to immediately. Of course, you will be disqualified from the exam and have to take it again next year. Ryo looked at Team 7. Of course Naruto wouldn't quit, but he wondered about the Uchiha brat. He didn't really care, but the fact that Orochimaru had done it was his concern. Surprisingly enough, the Uchiha did not only keep his hand down but refused to let his teammate do so for him. Out of the corner of his eye, however, Ryo did see one man raise his hand. He had silver hair and glasses. Naruto seemed upset about this. Kabuto. You can't. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, but I'm just too low on chakra. Ryo realized then who it was from name alone, but that wasn't his concern. Let him leave and do what he wished. The man coughed again as those that raised their hands were escorted from the ring. Very well then, let us begin the first match. The board began to generate names at a randomized pace until 2 people's names appeared on the board. Uchiha Sasuke and Yoroi Akadu. Okay, since this fight really holds absolutely no point and was somewhat a waste of a Naruto episode and chapter, I'm skipping it. Ryo yawned. The fight hadn't lasted very long. It had just turned into a quick and pointless taijutsu match with a little bit of chakra stealing. During this time he noticed the Hokage looking at him seriously, motioning him to a corner. Ryo sighed and complied. It was that or watch the next boring match of some puppet master versus some unknown sound member. Ryo beamed happily. You wanted something, oh honorable Hokage-sama? The Hokage just sat there, a serious look and pipe in his mouth. Cut the act, Musashi. Ryo blinked, then smiled. Please, it's Ryo, oh honorable Hokage-sama. The Hokage just stared at him coldly and Ryo sighed. You really know how to cut all the fun out of something, don't you, Sarutobi-sensei? You know why I called you? Ryo sighed. I do. I thought you wanted to talk about old times, have some tea. Drop out of the Chunin exam. Ryo laughed. Why would I do that? I still have plenty of chakra left in me and my injuries aren't very serious. You know why I want you to quit, Ryo? Ryo laughed. Aw, come on, I won't kill nobody. I promise, not even those 2 Hyugas that made it. Sarutobi-sensei's head looked like it could fall through the desk. You're too much for genin, please withdraw. Ryo sighed. Then who would protect them from Orochimaru? Sarutobi looked like his eyes would pop from his head as his body shook at the name. You saw him? Ryo looked aside. Maybe, I can't really say. This was the first time the Hokage lost his cool as he gripped Ryo hard. Musashi Ryo Ryozuki. You will tell me what you know right this instant. Ryo winced. That was the first time he had ever been yelled at since his days as a genin. Sheesh, don't have an aneurysm, you old geezer. The way you act, you should be happy that I don't become a missing ninja myself. And last time I checked, you owed me, not the other way around. Ryo didn't look so cheerful at the final line, and neither did the Hokage. His face softened and he lowered his head in shame. Orochimaru attacked Team 7 the other day. His goal was Uchiha Sasuke. Sakura Haruno was left uninjured from the assault but was hurt by a sound group a few days later. The sound is obviously a village started by Orochimaru. Uchiha Sasuke was infected and the seal Naruto possesses was tampered with. Ryo's hand clutched tightly as the Hokage absorbed all this information. He brought back Hana, and he completed that disgusting jutsu I had deemed forbidden. It is no doubt he will attack Konoha. Be prepared for that. The Hokage had a stern expression and took a long drag from his pipe. Smoking is bad, MK? I see. Then Konoha is in danger as well as Team 7 itself. Ryo interrupted. Not Team 7. Sasuke. He's going to attempt to do to him what he's done to others. The Hokage stood up. Then I have no choice. The Chunin exam must be cancelled. Ryo looked and sighed. You know that's not an option. Our entire nation would be in jeopardy from a decision like that and the council would be up your ass in record time. The Hokage just looked weakly for the first time in a while. He was feeling his age. Then what do you suggest? Ryo looked up at the ceiling. We have no choice. Let the Chunin exam continue. There will be an attack. We'll just have to be ready. You have my word. I'll protect Konoha. It's in my own interests anyway. With that he began to walk off to leave the Hokage to his thoughts. Sarutobi-sensei. The Hokage looked up. When you see Orochimaru, do not hold back. He isn't your student anymore. He's a monster and must be killed at all costs. Remember that. If you don't kill him, I will. The Hokage just sat there, a serious look, taking another drag of his pipe. As he faced Ryo's back, an announcement was heard. Ryo smiled. Hey, looks like I'm up next. Ryo calmly walked out of the room and walked to the arena. Sure enough, his name had been called and to his surprise his opponent was Negima. Hyuga, come forward please. A Hyuga. Ryo hit it well, but a sadistic smile crossed his lips. A boy with short jet black hair and white eyes approached the stand. He stood proudly and looked upon the slouching, shaking Ryo. Hey, scared or ya? You should be. I'm a Hyuga, the best of the best. You should just give up now and beg for mercy. Ryo laughed. His laugh almost seemed vicious, but it still held a lightheartedness to it. Yet for some reason Neji and Hinata felt chills. Me? Beg in front of you? Ryo then stood in a stance as if he were about to bull rush the boy. Come on boys, ring the bell. I'ma tear out his eyes. His voice held such a sadistic malice to it that the Hyuga boy froze with fear. What's the matter, boy? Scared? A Hyuga should be proud, emotionless, ready at all times, for the Jayuken is unmatched. Naruto looked curiously. This was a different Ryo from the one he had met. He only had intent to kill. It sent shivers down his spine. Even Kakashi looked a little unnerved. The Hyuga boy regained his composure and spit on the ground, causing Ryo to laugh, acting shocked. Oh. A Hyuga spit. The world must be ending for a Hyuga to show such lack of etiquette. Shut up. The Junin coughed and raised his hand. Begin. Ryo was gone in a flash, shooting an elbow to the boy who barely dodged it. Byakugan now activated. Ryo did a quick sign and sighed, speaking very quietly to himself so no one would hear. Half of my chakra to hide the genjutsu from the Byakugan. I hate white eyes. Negima then jumped back in a flip, going into a stance. Ryo scuffed. Jayuken, the art of the gentle fists. The style that implants the user's chakra within the body and destroys the organs. The deadly style of the Hyuga attack of the Tenketsu chakra points. Negima then laughed and stared. Hey, are you scared yet? To Negima's pure surprise, Ryo actually yawned and laid down. I'll wake up when you come up with something more original. Neji was looking down, annoyed, but nowhere near as annoyed as Negima, who ran and struck Ryo with his palm, annoyed as Ryo coughed up blood. That's what you get for underestimating the Hyuga clan, you stupid fool. Ryo then dissiped smoke as Ryo hung upside down on the bars where Team 7 sat. He then sat up from the bars and waved to Naruto. Yo. Negima looked stunned. But how my Byakugan should have seen through the jutsu. Ryo flipped down, waving goodbye to Naruto. Kage Bushin no Jutsu distributes the chakra evenly, giving the clone solid form, so you can't really tell who's real and who's a clone. Can we be serious now? I want to finish and go take a nap. Negima was furious. A Hyuga was being made to look like a fool from this simpleton. Ryo then smiled again and got into a stance, but this stance wasn't the one from before. This one had the Hyuga in shock. That stance. Ryo smiled sadistically again. Jayuken. Neji, Hinata, Lee, Guy, Negima and mostly everyone aside from Naruto, Sasuke, and whoever was not from Konoha looked in amazement. Negima charged angry. There's no way that was possible. Ryo dodged and hit his side, which caused him to wince in pain. It was the simplest touch, but it felt like his body had been hit by a train. There's no way. Negima sent another shot as Ryo knocked it aside with his hand, then gently touched his neck. And in a warm smile he waved and said, "Bye-bye." Negima's body shivered in pain as he fell to his knees, then the ground unconscious. Ryo sighed, looking over at everyone. "Relax, he's still alive. Only thing I really hurt was his pathetic pride." The Junin surrounded him. Something wasn't right. That degree of skill was not normal in a genin. "How did you perform Jayuken?" Ryo sighed. "Anyone with decent chakra control can just focus chakra in their hands. My chakra was just stronger and better than his." The Junin stared at him. Ryo smiled inwardly, thinking of ways to win over the Junin. The easiest way would be to gain the Hokage's blessings in front of the Junin. However, Ryo saw it as more fun to win over the Junin, starting with the easiest one guy. "I'm so sorry, I don't know what came over me." Ryo shyly shuffled his feet in a way similar to Hinata. "I just wanted to do good and my SP spirit just exploded with youth. That was easy enough to weaken guys' resolve. That's beautiful. The true spirit of youth is in this boy, Lee." Lee jumped down. "Yes sir. This is a true spirit. You should take note of his spirit and make it your own and better, for you are the true spirit of youth." Ryo sighed, and to his sheer horror Lee was actually taking notes. He had done what he needed. The distraction of Guy was more than enough to get everyone off his back, though he was regretting it. As Guy and Lee did their little sunset hug, Ryo slowly backed away, climbing by Team 7, trying not to throw up. Naruto ran up to him. "That was awesome. You knocked him out in 3 moves." Ryo laughed. "Y'all want to learn how to do it, Naruto-kun?" Naruto nodded. "Hell yeah." Ryo smiled. "Okay, I'll teach y'all sometime when you're a little stronger. I still think you gotta learn some stuff first." Naruto jumped in the air and cheered, causing Ryo to laugh. He really was a good-natured kid, a little loud but good-natured. He sighed and sat against the wall by Team 7. Neji just stared at him and he stared right back. As if they could have a war just by the mind and by the malice and hatred given from Ryo's eyes. Neji backed down slightly. Ryo then stood up and walked by to Neji, passing for only a second, but it was enough to word this. "Branch or main, either way you sicken me. I hate white eyes." Neji stood still. The sheer hatred from just a whisper hit him at full force. What that hatred I felt, that's not possible for a genin. But before Neji could gain any sense, he was called up to the stand. Neji Hyuga versus Hinata Hyuga. Neji's fist tightened as he walked to the stand, shaking off all memories of Ryo as he saw Hinata shyly take the stand. Hinata and Neji faced each other. Hinata looked worried, even trembling a little, and Neji looked at her, keeping his emotionless facade. Ryo looked on lazily, thinking one thing. If I'm lucky, they'll kill each other. "I never thought I'd be facing you, Hinata-sama, brother Neji." Naruto jumped up at the word brother. "Siblings," Ryo lazily spoke at the same time as Kakashi, but louder and clearer. "They're not related. It's just a term." Kakashi sighed and continued with his explanation. "They are members of the greatest and oldest clan of the Leaf. Clan Hyuga. But they aren't siblings." Ryo muttered something incoherent at Kakashi, but it was ignored. Sakura looked up. "Then what are they?" Kakashi sighed lazily. Well, they're members of the Hyuga clan's main and branch houses." Lee looked like he was about to speak, but Ryo beat him to it. "The girl there is from the main house. The guy is from the branch." He wouldn't dignify them with names, nor would he let Lee go into a long-winded speech. He was too familiar with Guy-sensei's methods. Sakura stared at the 2 Hyugas. "Then, they're cousins. Won't it be difficult for them to fight?" Ryo interrupted again. His voice seemed almost cold. "Fight? The Hyuga don't care about family, or anyone else. They care about their honor. Fighting is nothing to them. All that matters is that they fight, and uphold their pathetic rules." Lee butted in. "You forgot that the branch and main are also on bad terms, as many things have happened between the 2 houses over the years." Ryo scoffed and looked down at the girl. He was angry at all Hyuga. He hated them, but the girl looked so innocent, so afraid. He couldn't keep a hard resolve. Hinata was a different story. Sakura looked at them. So, they hate each other then. Match begin. Neji placed his footing. Before we begin, Hinata-sama, I have something to say to you. His eyes were cold and emotionless. You don't make a good shinobi. Forfeit now. Ryo gripped tightly at that response. It brought back bad memories. Ryo. Forfeit now. You'll never be a good shinobi. Shut the hell up. I can be as good a shinobi as anyone else, you'll see. Hey, that's easy to say, but hard to do. Drop out. Now, prepare yourself. Don't hold back for you won't get remorse, loser. He shook his head as Hinata looked in shock. You are too kind. You wish for harmony and avoid conflict. You agree with others, never resisting. And you have no confidence in yourself. I always felt your sense of inferiority. That's why I thought it would be best for you to remain a genin. But this exam needed teams of 3, and you couldn't turn down your teammates, so you were fated to be here. Is that not right? Ryo stared at Neji. The more he spoke, the more he wanted to take a kunai and... No, Ryo, calm down. You can't blow your cover over this, you must relax. Still, that girl. Something that Hinata said shook Ryo out of his thoughts. And no, IW wanted to. I just wanted to change myself. Do it. Myself. Ryo's eyes widened. She was. He couldn't hate her. He realized at that point, he couldn't hate Hinata. She was too much like Hana. Ryo was training against the log when he heard a woman in the further area. Curiously, Ryo walked to her, barely able to make it through the brush. Miss, are you O.K.? When he looked, he saw a beautiful young girl around his age fighting a piece of wood. Her hands were damaged and a little injured. Ryo looked and admired her a little. He walked up and touched her shoulder. The girl screamed in shock and turned blushing furiously. Ryo smiled a little, still blushing. I am sorry, miss, I didn't mean to scare you. I was just training over there and... The woman blushed even harder, shuffling her feet. I know why you've been training here for a while, right? Ryo looked at her as she blushed even more, moving her fingers in a fashion showing her nervousness. Why, yeah, I guess I have. He then looked down at his hands. Why, you're hurt? Come on. I have some medicine, and I just learned this jutsu that might help. She blushed, but winced a little as he held her hand. Oh, okay, She gulped in a little fear. Maybe we can have lunch afterwards. I usually pack too much for myself and I can cook. A little. Reyes and smiled. Why, yeah, I'd like that. By the way, why were you training so hard? The girl blushed more. I wanted to change myself, be strong like some. She blushed horribly red, trying to avoid the comment. Ryo didn't push it any further, but smiled. Well, maybe we can train together. My name is Musashi Ryozuki, but everyone calls me Ryo. She smiled warmly, trying to hide her blush. All right then, I'll call you Ryo-kun. Ryo blushed at the comment and her smile. My name is Hanarai Hyuga, but I don't like the long name, so, Hana, will do. Ryo looked on one last thought in his mind. All right, then I'll call you Hana-chan. Ryo looked on the battle now had his full attention. Neji spoke again. Hinata, as I thought, you are just a spoiled brat of the Hyuga main house. People cannot change themselves. Losers are losers. Their personality will not change. Ryo was beyond angry at that line. He held the railing as if he could break it with his sheer force. He almost did. Naruto looked like he was ready to bite off his lip. Because people cannot change, differences are born. Expressions like elite and loser are created. Looks, brains, size, personality. All people judge and are judged in these values. Based on these unchangeable factors, people discriminate and are discriminated against. And they suffer within their own means. Just like the fact that I am from the branch house and you are from the main house cannot be changed. Naruto shook with rage, and Ryo held the railing tighter. It began to break under his grip. I have seen through many things with this Byakugan, so I know it's just bravado. But deep inside, you just want to run away from here. And no, I really... Ryo couldn't take this. He wanted to jump down there and kill Neji there and then, but he sighed and tried to gather his cool as Kakashi explained Byakugan to a curious Sakura. Neji activated the Byakugan and Ryo could see Hinata's reaction, her fear and everything else. He just stood there, his expression was emotionless, but inside, It was killing him to see Hinata like that. You cannot fool my eyes. Against my pressure, you just floated your eyes to the upper left. That is a sign that you are remembering something painful from your past. After that you moved your eyes to the lower right. That's a sign that you are imagining physical and mental pain. That is that you are thinking of yourself and me, and imagining the outcome of this match. Imagining that you'll lose. Ryo couldn't take much more. He had to do something, say something. Hinata brought a hand to her face, and began to hyperventilate. The action of raising your arms in front of your body, that shows that you are trying to create a wall between us. Create distance from me. That you are trying to prevent me from figuring out how you are truly feeling. Ryo's hand began to glow with violet chakra, because everything I have said is completely true. Hinata began to bite her lip, with her eyes forming tears. Furthermore, touching your lips is a personality trait revealing disturbance. It's a defense mechanism to soften the nervousness and worrying. Ryo's chakra was about to burst from his body, from the sheer rage he felt. Everything was a horrible memory for him. Everything the Hyuga said made him want them dead. Ryo, you just looked to the upper right and lower left. That means that you're imagining physical pain, and you see the outcome of this match. Are you afraid? Ryo stood, his eyes full of hatred and determination, as Hana laid behind him. No, I was just remembering my motivation to defeat you. I'll kill you. Ryo was about to scream. So basically, in reality, haven't you already realized that you cannot change you? You can. It was shouted in unison, with full force. Naruto had expected himself to shout at full volume. What he didn't expect was that Ryo would be shouting with him. Stop deciding things about people, you dumbass. Naruto had used the word idiot. Kick that bastard's ass, Hinata. Ryo didn't say her name as lightning struck in his mind. Hinata Hyuga. Why hadn't it hit him before? How could he have been so blind? Naruto was the only one talking. Hinata, stand up for yourself. This is really hard to watch. Ryo looked on for the first time in a long time. He looked at a Hyuga with sympathetic eyes. And like him, Hinata's eyes had changed completely. I no longer want to run away. Everyone looked surprised at Hinata, but Ryo only laughed, cheering. Go Hinata. Brother Neji, we fight. Ryo was lost in his own world. Why hadn't he seen it before as he saw Hinata fight? Her form, her flexibility, her facial expressions, everything about her. He stood there, lost. Hana, I wanted to show you a new jutsu I created. Hana smiled and followed him happily. Okay Ryo-kun, let's see it. Ryo focused his chakra to his arms, and focused them. They extended slightly, like blades on his hands, and quickly faded. He instead had a little sweat drop. Heh, it still needs a little work. Hana cheered Ryo on. That's great, Ryo-kun. Ryo smiled then, blushed heavily at her praise. There's one more thing Hana. Ryo jumped forward slightly, and kissed her gently as she stood there in shock, then eventually kissed back. Ryo smiled warmly. Happy birthday Hana-chan. Will you go out with me? Hana smiled warmly and nodded as they trained together happily the rest of the day. Now that Ryo thought about it, training on a first date had been kind of stupid. Everyone, report to the Hokage's office. Konoha is being attacked. I repeat, Konoha is being attacked. Hana and Ryo gripped tightly, nodded and sped off. Ryo sighed as he watched. He could tell slowly, but surely, of the fight, and he admired Hinata greatly. But Neji was winning. Everyone else thought otherwise, but Ryo saw as slowly, but surely, Hinata was slowing down, and Neji was getting in more and more hits. At the end, everyone realized who had won when Hinata spat out blood. So, this is at the extent of the main house's strength? Hinata went to attack, but like Ryo, had seen Neji come, dodge and strike her arm. As he pulled her sleeve, everyone had seen as Ryo did earlier. Her tenketsu were closed. Neji then shot her back. Hinata-sama, this is the difference that divides the elite from a loser. This is the difference in talent that can never change. This is the reality that can never change. You said, I do not want to run, but you were trying to set yourself up for regret. You should be overcome with desperation right about now. Hinata got up slowly. I don't go back on my word. She smiled. That is also my ninja way. Ryo stood there in shock. She was still standing. He couldn't think straight after that point. She was coughing up blood, her body was at her limit, and then it hit him. He put two and two together and looked at Naruto, then inwardly laughed. Hey, of course. History repeats. You can do it, Hinata. Ryo looked weakly to Naruto. He still cheered her on. Of course he would. It made sense years ago that he would have done the same thing. He didn't know the girl could push herself so hard though, as she went in to strike again. And again. And again. And again, until she fell. You don't understand anything. From the beginning, your attacks have done nothing. The Junin running the match then went over Ryo and bit his tongue. He didn't want her to quit. Continuing is impossible, therefore the win. Don't stop the match. Ryo looked at Naruto weakly, then looked down, even weaker. It hurt him to watch this. She was getting up again. It's not over yet, acting tough is useless. You can barely stand, I can see that. From the time of your birth, your role in the Hyuga house has been forced upon you. You have always hated yourself for your own weakness. But people cannot change, that is destiny. There is no need to suffer anymore. Let it go. Ryo stood up. He had made his decision, and walked to the stairs. He knew what would happen next, but a little voice changed his ideal completely, causing him to true brother Neji. Because I can see it. It's not true at all. The person suffering within the destiny of the main and branch houses is you. Neji then charged as the Junin snapped to attention. Neji-kun, the match is over. Neji was stopped as all the Junin caught him. Guy, holding his neck and shoulders, Kurenai holding one arm, Kakashi holding the other, and the other Junin separating him and Hinata. Guy spoke to his student as he held him back. Neji, give it a rest. You gave me a warm promise not to lose your head over this main family stuff. Neji scoffed. Why do even other Junin jump in? Oh, more special treatment for the main family. Ryo sighed. He actually agreed with the Hyuga brat, but that wasn't his concern as he calmly walked down the stairs. He guessed correctly, as Hinata's organs gave out and she fell to the ground, and Ryo was right there to catch her. Very quickly, Naruto and the others joined him. She needs medical attention now, Ryo said it almost coldly. Neji looked like he was to say something, but Ryo smiled at him, making him gulp in fear as Ryo held his eyes closed. He looked to Neji as if Ryo were to open his eyes. The Hyuga might die of fear. So he focused on Naruto. Hey. The loser over there, I'd like to tell you two things. If you're a shinobi, then cut out the pathetic cheering for others. And one more thing. In the end a loser is a loser. They cannot change that. Naruto glared. You want to test me? Neji laughed and smirked as Naruto went to charge. As soon as he charged, Rock Lee stopped him. But Ryo wasn't, as Neji went flying into the nearest wall. Everyone stared in shock as Naruto stood there, chakra blaring in his fist. People cannot change. Hey, that's bull. You better pray you don't get me in the matches, Hyuga. Ryo was then pinned down by all the Junin, but Ryo only held up his hands. I'm sorry I lost my cool, it was unlike a shinobi for me to do so. Naruto had smirked but was a little annoyed he had wanted to do so. Neji looked like he could rip off Ryo's head, he was so angry. Ryo then walked backwards as Hinata coughed blood. Everyone turned their attention to her, and Ryo slipped away from sight. Kurenai was the first to run up to her, her heartbeat is erratic. She then glared at Neji. Neji regained his look of indifference. If you have time to glare at me, then take care of her. Medical team, what are you doing? Hurry up. Naruto was still there even though Ryo wasn't, as he took out his fist covered in Hinata's blood. I promise. He said, then looked at Neji with hate in his eyes. I will win. Ryo-kun, are you all right? Why yeah, I think so. Where is the enemy? Is Konoha still under attack? Are you okay? She smiled warmly at him. No Ryo-kun, you did it. We won. You're a hero. Ryo laughed at the words. Hero. My mind just won't let me forget. He then walked into the medical room as his formal form. Damn, her heart is still failing. We need more chakra. Move. Ryo didn't look at them. He didn't question them. He just shoved them out of the way and began doing seals as his two hands began to glow with chakra. Focus on removing the Hyuga's chakra from the girl. Then you purify chakra and send it through her coils for a healing effect. Pay attention. You guys always screw shit like this up. The medical team was speechless. They didn't know what to do. Call the Hokage? Attack him? They decided to finally let him heal the girl? Ryo then looked to them. Clarification number for Medical Anbu Squad is 142,769. Medical Anbu Attack Infiltration Specialist. Codename, Weapon. Some of the medical ninjas stood there in confusion. But two of the elder ninjas stared at him, jaws dropped. Ryo S-sama. B. But you were I saw you. Ryo laughed. Did you see me that day? He then looked at him with his right eye, which made the man pale as a ghost. Then you'll know that if you say anything about it, I'll kill you where you stand. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to speak with the Hyuga girl. The medical ninja swallowed and spoke. Yes sir, I am fully aware of your ideals towards the Hyuga. I will not allow you to harm the girl. Ryo turned and smiled at him. Really now? Well, do you think that you can really stop me? Also, I would like to state if I wanted her injured, she wouldn't be healed right now. Now I'll say this again. His voice turned dead cold. If you value your lives, get out. They ran like hell. They didn't know what else to do, so they ran, or more like they were pushed out by chakra. Such sheer force. Is he a monster, sir? No, he's a weapon. Ryo scoffed. Shut up already. He slammed the door and looked over at the girl who was finally starting to wake up. Naruto-kun. Ryo laughed. Nope, sorry Hinata-chan. How are you feeling? Hinata snapped up, blushing like crazy that she had been talking about Naruto in her half-awake state. Who are you? Ryo smiled. Just a doctor, Hinata-chan. I saw your match. Hinata looked down. I lost. I wasn't expecting you to win. She almost cried at that. But then again, I wasn't expecting you to fight. You really impressed Naruto there. He promised to beat Neji, just for you. Hinata blushed, twiddling her fingers. Naruto-kun is going to fight for me? She thought. Ryo smiled. Your mother would have been proud of you, Hinata-chan. You're almost identical to her. Hinata looked up, confused. She had never met her mother, as she had died when she was born. Why, you knew my mother? Ryo laughed. Yes, I did. I knew her before your father, and I knew her as more than a friend. Hinata's eyes widened, her body still shaking from earlier. Hinata, I'll tell you a story. Your mother was heiress to the Hyuga clan before you were born, Hinata-chan. She was younger than you and possessed no talent. When I met her at 18, she was weaker than you. And I looked at her as a beauty, nothing more, not a ninja, not a fighter. Hinata looked down. Why was this man telling her all this? It tore her up inside. So her mother was the same. Was she weak as well? Was it genetic? She didn't know yet. As much as she wanted to curl up, run away, cover her ears, do anything to escape this. Despite those feelings, she stayed still. She somehow felt compelled to listen. After all, it was her mother. We had no chance to relax or enjoy our lives. We had to train hard and fast. Your mother trained herself harder than Lee, harder than Naruto, and almost harder than me. Only reason she didn't surpass me, she stopped when her hands were broken. Hinata looked up in amazement. Her mother had gone that far? Further than Naruto-kun? Further than Lee-sama? Further than even this man? Till her hands were broken? Then she started to train with me, started to catch up. When she hit Junin, I hit Anbu. Then I trained to become a medical specialist in combat and fields. She wanted to become a just heir and catch up with me. What I didn't know is she always watched. The alarm had gone off. The Cloud were attacking Konoha this time. They weren't alone. Something big was attacking the villages and the outer skirts of Konoha. Still, Ryo still felt distracted as he ran alongside his new companion, one he should have helped and noticed. I remember you better now, Hana-chan. You were at the academy with me and on a team similar to mine in Chunin. I remember you didn't pass and were a genin for another year. Hana let out a long sigh. 3 years, but eventually I did pass. Ryo laughed slightly. So why did you try so hard? Hana looked at him. If Ryo could have guessed, her eyes were filled with anger. I will be a full heiress to the Hyuga clan. In a few years I will hit Anbu status and I'll be a just and powerful addition to Konoha. I will keep this world safe. Ryo looked in awe. The determination in her was incredible. He had such selfish reasons to be strong, yet there she was fighting to be fair and strong. I'm impressed. I wish I had noticed earlier. I would have helped you get stronger. I could have at least healed your hands, or tried. Hana blushed heavily, looking on at Ryo and blushed more. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't notice sooner. Before Hana could get a word out, they arrived where the third Hokage resided. They've summoned a demon from another plane to do their bidding. The information is unclear, but it seems to be a giant fox. Don't let them get to this village. An injured ninja. Blood. The screams of a female ninja holding him in her arms. Intruders at the gate. Some kind of demon. A stopping of breath. Tears of a young woman. The scattering of shinobu. Ryo sighed as Hinata absorbed the first few minutes and lowered her head, more thinking of the lives lost. We were still at war with the Cloud Nation before you were born. It was only somewhat after you were born that it ended, but what happened that day was a turning point. What is that? A nine-tailed fox attacking a village. Ninja dying left and right. A lone shinobi sealing up what he can in wounds, keeping those he can alive, losing hundreds to ninja and demon alike. Damn it, give me a chance, you bastards. Ryo pounded his fists against a recently dead genin. He was half my fucking age. No time for distractions. A dead ninja thrown into a spinning chakra. A female Hyuga joined by her clan fighting back the ninja. Kaiten. 12 Cloud Ninja thrown, 15 dead, 3 Hyugas down. A large blast. A combined effort of 2 young ninja, Anbu and Junin, forming a chakra barrier of perfect precision. 100 ninja hurt or unconscious, only 2 remained. Hana-chan, look out. An exhausted Hyuga. A Hyuga hurt but not killed, flying into a body of her brethren. Hana-chan. Hana was injured. She wouldn't last long. He didn't have the ability to heal her alone, and he was all that was left. Anbu would not come until the fox was through the gates, the third demanded, and he understood. But that didn't make him less angry. Focus all chakra into my feet and hands. Hand seals in precision. Another paw, a swipe, a jump. Ryo landed on the paw, running on all fours like a deranged animal, landing on the demon's back. A kunai with an explosive rune lodged into the Kyuubi's eye. A scream of pain and an explosion. Ryo jumped away to face the demon he had mortally wounded. Gotcha. Ryo only needed to send up a message with a fire jutsu to receive help. If the demon hadn't healed the wound, that would have been possible. Fool, you think you, a mere mortal, can face a demon? Ryo looked in shock. It could talk, but his anger overcame his astonishment. Why attack us? Why side with an enemy of this village? Fool, I am a leader of the pack of foxes. If I can destroy you, miserable filth, it doesn't matter what side I'm on. Until my summon wears, I will slay you, then the fools that summoned me. Ryo breathed heavy. A strong hit, a shot through the gate, blood everywhere. A seal to keep it in. A last maneuver from a scroll he read once before. Dog, bird, ox, dog, bird, ox, dog, bird, ox. Incredibly fast movement, repeated succession. A drawing of blood on the chest and both hands. Ryo threw several flash bombs, temporarily stopping the Kyuubi. When he gained sight, he saw Ryo jumping up, a blade in his hand, impaling the demon through the head, his own blood running down the blade. The Kyuubi seemed unscathed. A glow of chakra moving down the blade, a scream on both sides, a violent mixture of blue and red. Fuinka Koui. Second form, demonic flame of heaven and hell. This seal is originally meant to seal fire, so I winged it. A burning sensation, a flame, both parties burned to the core in flame, a scream of torture and hate. Gojifuin. Type of sealing jutsu. One final scream, a mark all black. When Ryo came to, the final ninja were being thrown away. Hana-chan was crying on his chest. Hana-chan. It hurt to breathe, but he managed to speak nonetheless until Hana-chan hugged the hell out of him. Did we win? Yes, you did it, Ryo, you're a hero? Ryo smiled, hiding the mark now burned into his midsection, slowly hugging back in a blush. Despite what I told you about my heroism, your mother was the one who drove back the remaining ninja. She killed over 300 that day. Hana woke up to see the demon gone. Ryo crumbled on the ground, the final flames dying out. Despite his bleeding, there were no burns, but he didn't not stir. Ryo-kun. Hana ran to Ryo's side, holding him as the other ninja, amazed by their loss of their strongest weapon. It had taken I think it's Raikage, if not full efforts of their Raikage to summon that demon, and the extra 7 ninja that helped summon it died shortly after the summon. The Raikage weakened to quite a degree. No matter many ninja were killed, only 2 remained. The gate was opened. They didn't expect the rage of a Hyuga woman whose first love was torn asunder. Byakugan. White eyes and anger and shivering hands. Live, Ryo-kun, I'll be back. She then bent down and kissed his still warm but fading lips. I'll not let you hurt, Ryo-kun. She reached into his pocket and pulled out his 2 kunai, his destroyed katana laid by his side. Another kiss, then a turn and a stance. Juken bladed death. A blur of movement. 3 dead, 7 dead, 100 dead. Cadence, broken organs, an exhausted Hyuga, a barely conscious Ryo barely woken from a woman's kiss, a very weak hand sign. One last explosive note thrown into the air, a very small fireball, an explosion of light, then all went black once more. 300 dead Cloud Ninja, a single woman unable to move a cut tendon from a strong kunai, no more chakra, no more hope. 100 Cloud Ninja remaining. Now you Hyuga brat, you will. A kunai through the head, an Anbu squad more ninja. 7 medical healing Ryo and pulling Hana back, healing their wounds. Ryo barely breathing, Hana holding him tight as the remaining ninja were killed, sent to retreat, defeated. The woman I had called weak saved me in my hour of need, long enough for me to find the strength to call in for help. She saved both our lives and revived me long enough to return the favor. Hinata was wide-eyed, she couldn't focus on anything else but this story. It amazed her. If her mother was so amazing, could she too grow to be as strong? The third stood by the door now. Ryo watched with contempt and Hinata could feel awkward again, rubbing her 2 fingers again. Hinata-sama, the preliminaries are over, please report home if you are feeling well enough. Hinata didn't want to go, but she wouldn't argue with the Hokage, so she bowed as Ryo smiled at her and she ran off. You were not to mention any of this. Yet you broke yet another of my rules. I told her nothing about how the demon was defeated, I merely stated he was destroyed. I didn't lie completely, and she deserved to know about her mother. She's to be respected by at least her daughter, not hated like the rest of this sickening village. Enough. Ryo spit. You love this place that much, do you? Well, don't worry, I offered to protect it for you and for them, that generation, the one that has yet to know hate. The third sighed and Ryo walked past. Naruto past Lee was severely injured. If you could look at him, please do so. Ryo said nothing and continued on. Hinata looked worriedly against the wall. She didn't want to eavesdrop, but she wanted to know more about her mother. Her mother was hated. But Ryo-sama said she was a hero. Despite her confusion, she knew of one thing. Ryo had answers, but only he could decide if she was worthy of knowing. She cried silently and ran off, cursing her shyness and inability to demand more answers. The end. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.